Look at me. As of this day, whatever sin the enemy is cloaking you with, do you want to be delivered? Do you want to be delivered? To go back no more that way. I curse. I'm not going to call it by his name. He knows his name and you do too. But you're a lying demon. God birthed this young man to be what he wanted him to be. And the blood of Jesus is against your filthy spirit, God, by you. You lying demon, you filthy spirit. Deliver, 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 deliver. In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus. I'll show you. Let me tell you something, young man. I don't know you. I don't know you, do I? Let me tell you something that's going to help you. Amen. You're called of God. God chose you. God wants to salt you some more. Come out from among them sissified men that's been hanging around you. I didn't say you was a sissy. You understand what I'm saying? God can't use no men trying to be women. We call them faggots. I ain't calling you that. Understand that, understand it? But the ones that's been around you, they've been around you, haven't they?
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me, boy. I don't play with God. Stay away from around them sissies, okay? Let God save them. But God has chosen you, and they know it, and that's the reason the devil in hell is trying to destroy you. In the name of Jesus, I curse his spirit. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I get so sick of sissies, I don't know what to do. I'm sick of sissies. And half the time bringing them in somebody's church, fanning over somebody's choir, turning, I'm sick of sissies. Just sick of them. My God from on high. We ain't got no men now. They're either in jail or on the corner or switching somewhere. God help us. And raise us up some men. These girls need some men. We need some real men, some whole men, some masculine men, some hairy-chested men, some baby I love you men. We need some men.
On the other hand, looking at a Vanity Fair piece, anti-gay sentiment in Uganda has climbed in recent years, due in no small part to American evangelicals who spent more than $20 million fighting LGBTQ rights in the country between 2007 and 2020, according to the Washington Post. Scott Lively, an American pastor, spearheaded this effort in the early 2000s, participating in a series of popular anti-gay lectures in Uganda, describing homosexuality as a disease propagated by the West. Several years later, Uganda's parliament proposed the initial legislation known as the Kill the Gays bill that was supported by a number of American Christian groups and eventually signed into law. So if you can talk about what the U.S. can do, people in the U.S., but also what the president of Uganda has done. He sounded like he wanted to sound more moderate by sending the bill back to the legislature, but then signed off on a bill that could give some LGBTQ people the death penalty.
Thank you for that question. And I want to say that
we, as much as we welcome President Biden's strong and powerful condemnation of this law, I think for us as advocates and activists, we've been pushing this. We've been interacting with our US partners and telling them that something big and dangerous is coming, and it's coming from your country. Please have ways that you stop it before it comes to our country. And I think that has failed. So as much as I welcome President Biden's condemnation, I think there needs to be a lot of work done back home within the United States to make sure that these, exporters of hate into a country like Uganda, because Uganda seems to be geographically positioned for, for these people to come into our country and to test everything negative that they want to test in our country. So that needs to be stopped from the backyard in the United States before it comes this side. So now that we are in this quagmire and in this danger, we call on the global partners, global citizens to keep condemning this law, to keep putting pressure on our leaders to make sure that they honor the international covenants that they've been signatories to and domesticate them and treat their citizens as human beings, not as collateral damage, the way our country is doing with the LGBTIQ community. In 2012, my organization that was shut down last year in August by the government, Sexual Minorities Uganda, together with partners, Center for Constitutional Rights, CCR, based in New York, we filed a case against Scott Lively. You can find the information on CCR's website and so on. We did that because for us, it was important to take homophobia or institutionalized homophobia back to where it came from. And it came from Scott Lively, so we wanted to take it back to him. And the courts heard us. Unfortunately, there was a jurisdiction issue. Scott Lively appealed the case, but then again, it was ruled in our favor anyway. So these are things that we are going to continue doing, taking homophobia back where it belongs, even if it means us losing our lives. Yes, government wants to put, advocates and actual LGBTIQ persons to death, but we are also prepared until the last drop of our blood, as long as we live our truth in this country.
Team took a bullet for the dream that we would one day all be free from prejudice, free from sexism, free from bigotry. I die for creativity, I die for freedom to be free. I died and left a legacy. Oh, but baby, I still live through technology. The sun will start shining. What is the pain? And is the pain. And is the pain. And just be patient. Your destiny will manifest. Yes,
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Hello to everybody
that's here. Hopefully you can hear me well. I have like a new little setup right over here. I'm using my sister's laptop. I have a desktop, but the webcam is messed up, and I like the little area that I'm in. So I'm using her laptop to kind of have the best of both worlds, a good quality of my phone and the convenience of having more options with StreamYard right here. So yes, hopefully you guys can hear me well. Please let me know in the chat. Can you hear me? Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. Can you hear me back there? Can you hear me? Am I Diane? Diane, can you hear me? Diane. Please let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Please. I am going to keep my promise in reference to all the things that I have said. I'm going to keep my foot on the neck of this issue. We've already opened up the can of worms. We've already met at our intersection of the line, not trying to step over the line, but right there at the line. We know who the people we can have the conversations with. We know the individuals that we cannot have the conversations with. Okay? Now it's time to actually have the conversations. And it's so funny because the oppressed people are always the ones that have to bring forth the burden of proof. And when I say oppressed, let me say this. I am speaking about oppressed. Matter of fact, let me change my banner now that I'm thinking about it, because yeah, make sure you do get your smokes and shit together. Hold on. This right here. All right. There we go. The reason why I use the word oppressed is because you can liberate yourself individually. That's really the first goal. I look like Libby from Jimmy Neutron. That's the first goal. To liberate yourself mentally and emotionally. To face the fear, right? That's the point. That's the purpose. Even though I face my fear individually in my life does not mean that other people will not harm me or try to unalive me or prevent me in some way, form, or fashion of me living my life. Not me living my life judging other people so I can feel better about my goddamn self. But I'm talking about learning to live your life where you are focused on your happiness. And if you are aware that your happiness is not hurting anybody, then you should be able to do what the hell you want to do. Okay? This is kind of, I guess, like a part 2 of my live yesterday because I gave my roses. But as I sit back and think about it, and I had a conversation with somebody today about a situation regarding queerphobia, because I think what these people do not understand, the ones that are choosing to be ignorant, is the fact that if you pay attention to other areas, not just the areas that make you feel like you are informed in reference to what these people can do to me and my children possibly, but what is also happening to these people. Why are these people, quote unquote, acting this way? And then when we look and see, we realize that there is this faux fear here. And you now have the opportunity to actually get to know queer people. All this fake propaganda that's happening right now to keep us distracted over here is preventing us from having these situations. So that's what I mean when I say the word oppressed. Now, in context to the situation, when I speak about the oppressed people always bringing forth the burden of proof, in order for something to be fact in life, it has to be verified by other people, which means they have to go through the same procedures to yield the same results. That's how it gets verified. In order to create stats, you have to hear the stories of all these people and listen for similarities in them to link them together. That's how you properly do things objectively. You're looking to observe and analyze and see what goes on. And queer people have always been the one, not queer people have always been the ones, but because I'm black and queer, but oppressed people have always been the ones to, again, show their burden of proof to the majority. And the majority doesn't even value it. It doesn't value it. Now, when I initially did the live on Black Men Unfiltered about the agenda, there were also other queer people in the audience, and I had received some feedback from some of them who kind of felt the shade and all that stuff. I was making a choice not to feel it because I wasn't going to let that distract me, because I understand that fear is there. That's what I understand. It's fear. And when you operate in love and you see fear, you move differently. You don't move the same way that everybody else does or been indoctrinated to move. You think outside the box, because my purpose was to listen to the other side, to see what they're saying. And then when you listen to what they're saying, then you can make it make sense. And once again, this has just proven to me that these are fear-based perspectives. The queer people went into the heterosexual space to have the conversation. Where are the heterosexual people going into the queer spaces to further those conversations? Where are the ones who are saying, you know what, I still might feel kind of weird. I still might feel kind of wrong. I still might feel somewhat convicted in my spirit because of me talking to you, as opposed to just, you know, staying away from you if you're not going to change or convert. But let me face that fear. There's only been 2 people that have done that. That's Dr. Nakumbe, shout out to him, which I do want to have a conversation with him, and Brother Vaughn, who is willing to once again face the fear and come over and see what's going on. And then yesterday was the time where the heterosexual side, I guess, wanted to create somewhat of a safe space to talk about what the gay agenda is. And even in that, it was kind of mixy. On one hand, it's wrong and it's demonic and it's evil and it's perverted. Like for the video. Okay, Andrew. Okay, girl, hold on. Go ahead, come on. Go ahead and get it. Where you at? Shania. Oh, matter of fact, I'll give y'all Granny McCrae. Hold on. I'm sorry for y'all eardrums. Okay. I'm sorry, I just started talking and shit. I'm sorry. Let me look at the chat. I'm so rude right now. Shout out to Amber in the building. And Amber, again, my condolences to you and your church family. And congratulations on your school stuff. I'm like, girl, you go to school every year? Are you trying to get a master's degree in everything, girl? I mean, damn, you've been in school for a long time. We got Harold in the building. We got Queen Spicy in the building. Who else we got? Let's see. Shout out to, and I want y'all to talk to me and I want y'all to engage, but I also want the heterosexual in attendance. Here it is. We have the opportunity to build community. You know, we was talking about, oh, you know, well, we were under some sort of agreements that we all were, you know, under attack here, right? Where are the individuals who want to further that conversation? And then last night, y'all had a conversation. Y'all arguments or the videos that y'all used literally worked against y'all. It was, and I'm off the edible tonight, so it's a whole different ball game instead of weed. I'm a smoke tomorrow. I'm trying to go back and forth. I'm on my edible right now. It was so. Again, I appreciate the honesty, I do, but it's just like so cringy because one moment is religion and nature or the lack of nature and, you know, the lack of governmental nurture and, you know, being sexually abused and just everything negative, toxic, just so fucking destructive about queerness. It was all that. But at the same time, you know, I have cousins who are gay and uncles who are gay, and I'm cool with them and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So you even have queer people in your own motherfucking life that you could further the conversation with and actually apply the footsteps and the principles of Christ, and y'all fail in that and only use that as an argument when it comes down to homosexuality. And no shade. The men that operate under that energy of fear, these are the ones that want to lead us. they are the ones that want us to follow them, us to be subservient to them, us to benefit and complement them. And I don't think a lot of black people don't understand how deep this shit goes as far as a fucking rabbit hole. I think for a lot of us in the black community, we just get stuck in the black struggle. But even for me as a black person, I'm awakening and looking past a lot of the things that a lot of black people are focusing on. Because guess what? I'm black and I'm queer at the same damn time. So there's this intersection within myself that I'm living and trying to navigate. And as a person who is self-actualizing, I've already self-actualized as far as my foundation, but to build upon that self-actualization, as an individual who has done that, I'm telling people energetically that it's the fucking same. And then when you have black queer people trying to tell black people that their perspectives, for the most part, are problematic to actual queer people of color, then we get yelled at and we're told that our blackness is going to be revoked because we're trying to compare the black struggle to the queer struggle. Do you not understand the common word in this shit, bitch? The common word is struggle. And I also wanted to point this out on my live last night. It made it seem as if though, like, I think the whole thing with Obama really hurt black people. Because black people put Obama in power in reference to their illusion. But it also showed how black people come together for a common cause because it benefits all of us. Right? And Obama did a lot for the queer community, really the white queer community. Because, of course, blackness and any form of it doesn't really benefit like that from the system, because the system was not built for us, not to gain anything, but it was built for us to continue to run around in the hamster cage and never get the fuck off. So it's so much, and that's why I want the conversations, because that's how we can move things forward. And I don't think we want to move things forward. I think we kind of want to just be by ourselves and stay away from everybody. And queer people, I'm sorry, y'all gonna have to get to the back of the motherfucking line. Y'all gonna have to wait y'all turn. And that change comes quickly. Okay, so are you okay with white people taking their sweet ass, slow, dragon foot, molasses ass time? In reference to, because once again, it was a tango in reference to racism, right? Okay, then. So both sides have to participate in the act of healing so we can remove this shit. The same thing with black people and the black queer community. There needs to be conversations that are going on. And the only time we show up is when it's battle time. Because it seemed like that live, I think it threw everybody for a loop. Even Black Man himself said, this is probably the most calmest live. And the ones who were giving the back and forth banter, not the healthy passion and conversation, but just the pettiness. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong about one of them, but I don't think they're people of color or black. Because no shade, this is supposed to be a black conversation, an in-house black conversation. What the hell's going on? If certain people want to be in the conversation that want to hear and learn, okay, well, let them learn in the comment sections below and allow the people who are living the black experience from both sides of the spectrum to come through. But since we had one live where both parties or the different tribes of blackness were coming together in, it wasn't really a neutral space, but the way that it went that night, A lot better than other ones. So again, shout out to everybody, well, mostly everybody on the panel that night. Okay. We had the live where we came together. The queer people came to the live of those from the perspective of the natural way of life, or a certain particular natural way of life. And at least for me as a queer person, I sat down and I listened. Yes, I asked questions because, again, this is a conversation, right? So a conversation means we have to go back and forth, correct? All right, let's do that. Let's do that. So I asked questions too. And it's so funny because when people ask me questions, I answer them. And if I don't answer them with a answer that's satisfactory, then let's break it down so we can actually get to it. Because I know how to talk to people. I know how to communicate, even though I stutter sometimes, and whatever the case may be, still, I know how to communicate effectively. So I sat there and listened to it, gave my own perspective, and now it's time for y'all to come over into the queer spaces. And for the queer people in the comments section, if you want, I can drop the link. And since we're having blind spot conversations that we feel could be beneficial for the other side to see, just like those last night spoke from their perspective on what they believe, whether it be scientifically, medically, spiritually, whatever the case may be, about their side, and we sat there and listened. Now it's our turn. And a lot of my queer brothers and sisters aren't going to do that, unfortunately, just like there aren't going to be a lot of black people who want to have that conversation either. But I'm going to be one of the individuals, and I'm not the only one. There have been others before me who are complete fucking trailblazers in what they do. Okay, absolutely amazing and wonderful. But there are other variations that are coming out, more awareness and expansion of this coming out. Because again, I feel like we have a chance right here in this period of history. I could be wrong, but I hope I'm not. But we have the opportunity to actually face the fears and to help educate people about things that they obviously do not know. Also, shout out to Deshaun Stallings, because baby, I'm about to go in my DMs, okay? And I'm about to pull up articles and I'm gonna place them in the comment section in the live, okay, for you to click on and see for yourself, okay? And I'm going to read some of them because now queerness is going to speak about their perspective and viewpoint on the heterosexual community, but not in a disrespectful way. Because first of all, using the term chest feeders and bonus holes, like I said in the live before, that don't even sound like something black people would even fucking say. Not collectively, and especially not the black trans women. Black trans women will call you pussy ass bitch. They will cuss you out with Lowry seasoning salt, right? They will do that. But chest feeder and bonus hole, that sounds so first grader kindergartenish. Like, what the fuck? But anyway, let me see. What's up, boy crazy? What's going on? Read some of y'all comments. Amber said, that's y'all, it's really hard and it's really hurt my dad because that's his classmate, friend. She's been around my family for years and it just breaks my heart to see her sick like that. Yeah, that's why self-love is very important, and just love in general, because you never know when that time will come where you're gonna have to peace out. And I might be glistening a little bit because it's a little warm, and I got my fan on 1 because I love y'all. I would have that bitch on 3, but I don't want that background noise to pick up, so I'm over here kind of sweating a little bit for y'all convenience. So hello, make it worth it. All right. Harold says, remember, it was that homo queerphobia doesn't apply to them because they aren't afraid of LGBT folk. Yes, y'all are. Yes, y'all are. Y'all are afraid because everything that y'all feel that could explain how it came into fruition, even though the videos that were used worked against them. It was like, girl, I low-key wanted to be like, oh, why y'all do them like that? Like why y'all do that? Why y'all do that? At least, especially in the beginning. In the beginning, they was sitting there nervous as shit, as far as like, as if God was sitting there like, okay, y'all better make me proud, because if not, I'm going to lightning strike both of you motherfuckers. So y'all better make it work. Okay? Do I need to get my lightning bolt? They was sweating. I know I stutter, but damn. And and sometimes homosexuality and sexual abuse and demonic possession, nurture. Your mom wasn't backing up, she was all up on you, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I learned yesterday, I didn't even know you could become gay because the dad was slow stroking your mom and the dick apparently is too good and it got you in the head. It hit your bonus hole on the top of a baby's head. That little hole there, hit that. Now I'm over here stroking to the east and stroking to the west. I'll be stroking. But just sweating and nervous. I was like, girl, what's going on? But again, I have hope. And that's why it's like, I know it's fear, because all you have to do for real is just sit back and let people talk. Actively listen to what they're saying. And they will tell on themselves. Now, there were some perspectives on there, once again, that I was like, okay, I can understand, because you're being honest in this moment. You are emotionally honest. There is no disingenuous energy right now. It's fear there. But I'm grateful that you're able to face the fear. What's up, Makidra? What's going on? Okay, let me pull up some of these articles. Okay. Because apparently, I guess, queer people, we all right. We just cool. We just chilling. We just good. We out here holding hands. We kissing our person in public. You know what I'm saying? We out here adopting kids. We cool. We getting invited to the church picnics and shit and cookouts. We can say, oh, this is my husband, and everybody in the black family saying, hey, that's awesome. Come on in. It's just all that shit going on, right? Just all that shit going on, right? Just all that shit going on, right? And then when I asked the question about transness, if you remove the medical aspect from it, what I should have asked was, what do you think would be an appropriate expression of transness for you, medical stuff aside? But I didn't ask it that way. I said, would you, and I gave them a solution. I said, well, will you allow your child to wear the dress of the opposite gender, because at least the dress can come off? What about the makeup? Because the makeup can come off. What about the hairstyle? Well, not really hairstyles, but hair and stuff. With certain things, it can come the fuck off. What about that? And all them niggas said no. One person said hell no. Another person said I would knock the transness out of my damn child. What else do y'all need to see? What else do y'all need to know? And y'all not afraid of queer people, but if your child was queer, you would knock the queerness. Didn't somebody who was heterosexual on the platform, who is secure in who he is, didn't he say he knew somebody who, when they said they was gay or something, their mom told them, oh, go ahead and take a nap and all that shit will change when you wake up? Bitch, what? Did y'all not see that video I played in the beginning? Do you want to play it again? We got 6 people in the video. I can play the first part. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play that video for y'all real quick. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, y'all. 1 second.
Look at me. As of this day, whatever sin the enemy is cloaking you with, Do you want to be delivered? Do you want to be delivered? To go back no more that way. I curse. I'm not going to call it by his name. He knows his name and you do too. But you're a lying demon. God birthed this young man to be what he wanted him to be. And the blood of Jesus is against your filthy spirit. God bind you. You lying demon, you filthy spirit. Deliver, deliver, deliver. Deliver, deliver. Shout. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. I'll show you. Let me tell you something, young man. I don't know you. I don't know you, do I? Let me tell you something that's going to help you. Amen. You're called of God. God chose you. God wants to salt you some more. Come out from among them sissified men that's been hanging around you. I didn't say you was a sissy. You understand what I'm saying? God can't use no men trying to be women. We call them faggots. I ain't calling you that. Understand that, understand it? But the ones that's been around you, they've been around you, haven't they?
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me, boy. I don't feel... Hey, I don't play with God. Stay away from around them sissies, okay? Let God save them. But God has chosen you, and they know it, and that's the reason the devil in hell is trying to destroy you. In the name of Jesus, I curse his spirit. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I get so sick of sissies, I don't know what to do. I'm sick of sissies. The time bringing them in somebody's church, fanning over somebody's choir, I'm sick of sissies. Just sick of them. My God from on high. We ain't got no men now. They either in jail or on the corner or switching somewhere. God help us. And raise us up some men. These girls need some men. We need some real men, some whole men, some masculine men, some hairy-chested men, some baby I love you men. We need some men.
All right, y'all.
As of this day.
I should have did it this way. How can I remove this stuff? Did you hear when she said, make sure you stay away from them sissies now? Make sure you stay away from them. Because they got evil spirits. They're polluted in the spirit. All these things in the spirit, they're still fucked up. All these things, stay away from them. And the argument is literally telling children to stay away from them. You've been around and I told you stay away from them. The same talking points. I would have played the entire video, but I might play that toward the end because I still want the men on the panel. First of all, stop being, and I'm going to call it out, afraid to have conversations with queer people. We are calling y'all to the mat. Y'all called us to the mat. We showed up and we answered. Now it's time for y'all to do the same thing. If there is any heterosexual man that wants to have a conversation about this, who wants to learn, I'm not talking about learning how to have gay sex. Because I like gay men. I don't like heterosexual men. Especially the men over there on that platform. I'd rather dive deep in pussy before I do anything with them niggas over there. Okay? So you can get that out your damn mind. All right? Ain't nobody looking at you like that. Okay? But for those who literally want to be a better person in reference to how they show up in reference to humanity, I don't mind dropping the link. But the link that I am going to drop is this one. I want y'all to click on the link, if possible, and read along with me. Okay? Now, there's this talk about sexual abuse of children, in that most times than not, that queer people are a byproduct of something perverted, something twisted, something deviant, something sexual. It's just, that's how it starts. That's just how it comes into play. Okay. So, since we're talking about protecting the children, let's play the game. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Let's protect the children. I'm for protecting people. But in reference and context to the situation, let's protect children. Okay. This is from the Detroit Free Press. This is from April 7th, okay, of this year. And it reads, Dad videotaped his girlfriend and 10-year-old son having sex out of sense of pride. His lawyer says he's not a cruel person, even though he videotaped his girlfriend and his 10-year-old son having sex, a crime that father committed while on parole for similar conduct. So you have the people who have been verified to be child abusers, who have objectively shown a pattern of abusing people, and he still has his child. But meanwhile, the trans people are just counting down the days on their trans calendar for day 0 to come kick your door in and take your child away from you and turn them into a fucking flesh robot. Okay? But he gets to still have his kid. Okay, cool. A crime to which he pleaded guilty. A crime that involved his son trying to stop the sex act that his dad was recording, but the dad persisting because the lawyer says the father himself had experienced similar trauma as a child. He was abused repeatedly at age 9 by a relative, and no one did anything. So here it is, you're talking about, well, maybe if y'all would have did something, maybe the kids wouldn't be queer, according to y'all logic, right? Right? How come the known family abuser gets to come to Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners and, you know, fish fries at the church and shit, you know, all types of places and spaces. He can't be around the kids, though. We know he's doing shit to the kids, and he can still get a plate. But then we argue with random queer people as if though y'all don't sit here and a lot of child abusers around your children. So if we're going to play that game, you might as well bring the queers in there. Y'all comfortable with the heterosexual ones, be comfortable with the queer ones, according to y'all logic. Anyway. He was abused repeatedly at age 9 by a relative, and no one did anything. Early, inappropriate sexualization was the norm in his family. Was his family queer? Interesting. Never having dealt with his own trauma, he could not process why it was wrong for his young son to have sex with an adult female. Okay, adult female. Instead of stopping the incident, he recorded it out of sense of pride. Attorney James Jerometta, I believe that's how you say it, wrote of the man, whose troubled life would spare him a tougher sentence. So, girl, wait till y'all hear this part. A minimum sentence for an unthinkable offense. What is up? We got Dr. Nakumbe in the building. What's going on? Shout out to you, King. Hold on, y'all. One thing about edibles, baby. If you take upon the herb, water is your friend, okay? Shout out to you. I'm glad you're in the building. We're going to have to work something out live. If you want to come up on this live, I don't know if you're busy or not. I could also drop the link as well. I kind of got like a little minor setup here temporarily. But if you want to follow along with us, we're I think it's fair, because I said before in the live that we had the meeting of the minds, meeting together in the middle to have the conversation, to put as much information out there and have people believe what they want to believe. And then the next night it was more of the heterosexual perspective, where the queer people were able to come in, sit in the audience, and pretty much listen, you know, to the heterosexual perspective from all different sides of it, even though a lot of, to me, it still is fear, but still sharing their side. I'm doing the same thing. I want the heterosexual people to come into the live. And Dr. Nakumbe, I would appreciate it. You don't have to, okay? Because you've been showing up and showing out, and I appreciate that. But I would love for you to let the other men on Black Men Unfiltered know that I welcomed them to this platform. And I appreciate their perspectives about what they think about queer people. And I sat there and listened. Now it's time for queer people to give their perspectives on that. Maybe we need to have the blind spot conversations, because apparently, you know, not only can nature make people gay, but also to them, they feel like two things can be true at the same time. So sexual abuse and all this stuff. And apparently somebody stroking you in the head while you in the womb and shit can just make you gay, even though you came through the nuts and the shaft and you came out the dick. I mean, come on now. But yeah, if you want to, just let me know. That'd be cool. A minimum sentence for an unthinkable offense. The 35-year-old Detroit father was sentenced to 25 years in prison this week, which was the minimum punishment he could have gotten for his crime: sexual exploitation of children. The Free Press is not naming the father to protect the identity of the minor victim. His sentencing guidelines called for 25 to 50 years in prison, though U.S. District Judge Victoria Roberts took into account his violent childhood and gave him the minimum punishment. So this person actually does the crime and has been documented of showing similar patterns of child abuse. He forces his 10-year-old son to engage in sex with an adult woman, the father's girlfriend. And not only that, he R. Kelly'd the shit by recording it. We have the proof a child was actually sexually abused. But for some reason, because he went through that as a child, now there is this compassion for the father who's been doing this shit. And he goes to jail for the most minimal sentence. Meanwhile, in Uganda, if there is an inkling of you being queer and you continue to be persistent and consistent in your queerness, which is basically just surviving and not conforming to what you feel like I should be, I can either be imprisoned or the extreme, and we see how people love extremes here, right? Because we focusing on the extremes. Murder queer people. And it don't even have to be proven. Even though the videos that was used on Black Men Unfiltered yesterday, those videos worked against them. Especially the first one. When they played it, I kind of cringed a little bit, because it's like, I already watched the video twice. I brought the video up on the live that I was on because, again, I pay attention to what y'all are saying. Are you doing the same thing to us? And I already debunked their viewpoint of the video before the live even happened. And that there were people who were like in the beginning, oh, yes, see, I like this, yes. Heterosexuality is favored. That's it, queer people, we told y'all, see, we are y'all mothers. We are y'all mothers. And then she continues to say that queerness is just a variation of humanity. That there may not be a gay gene, but there is something going on hormonal or natural in the womb, naturally with the woman's body, naturally. No sort of stimuli outside of it, just naturally. And then y'all sat there and called this woman a crack pipe. Oh my God, she's fucking crazy. Oh, this woman is a... But that's the video that y'all brought up, though. That's the video that y'all brought up, though, in your argument to support what your perspective is. And then when y'all have this moment of like, oh my God, fuck, okay, well, okay, let's be real. Change is just, change takes time. Okay, we can play that. I just want my black brothers and sisters to understand that same concept when white people continue to take their sweet ass time. Because the same shit y'all feel about queer people, white people feel the same way about us. I ain't got my lighter with me. I'm off of edible tonight, Extra Smoke Dragon. What's going on? Another heterosexual, cisgendered individual. I will be getting some weed tomorrow. Okay? I'm off the edible tonight. Let me read the rest of this article. And there's going to be more. Oh, don't. Well, wait, there's more. We're gonna put it in the stuff tonight. And again, I invite the other black men on the panel to come onto the panel. We can make it a panel if you want to. I'm cool, but I invite you to the platform to have the conversation. Again, I went into the lion's den and none of them niggas scratched me. I went into the lion's den and them niggas did not scratch me. Now, if there was a round 2 of the lion's den invitation, that's fine. Are you open now? Yes, I am. Would you like to join the live, Dr. Nakumbe? I can drop the link for you. Let's see. Where's it at? Invite. There we go. That's why I got to work on getting me an actual laptop. Because I can do this shit anywhere. Because sometimes in my desktop, when I do my podcast type style, it's on my desktop. So, and I like this setup I have, and it's over there, so I don't want to have to move everything. Okay, I'm about to drop the link for you now. 1 second. Command. Okay, is it control? Okay, this is when I'm used to Mac, bitch. How do you, is it Command C? Control C? Control C. No, is it Control V? Here we go. Hey, okay. There you go, Dr. Nakumbe. The link is right there. I'm going to do it like this. Where's it at? Where's it at? Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. I'm going to do it like this. But I'm going to read the article until he comes up. Let's see. 25 years minimum for his thing. The prosecution disagreed, I'm sorry. The man committed an unthinkable offense, horrific and unthinkable. Assistant U.S. Attorney Christopher Rothstorn wrote in a sentencing memo in which he urged the judge to give the father more than 25 years. And ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stream. We got Dr. Nakumbe in the building. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm just doing my part to continue the conversation. You know what I mean? Yes. We gotta strike while the iron's hot. But how are you?
I'm fabulous. Appreciative. Those in your chat, thank you for allowing me in this space, human space, right? So thank you for allowing me here. Thank you. It's an honor. And I thank you all. I don't know everyone who came over to CBN the other night, but I did see there were a few names that look familiar. So the fact that you went, showed support, didn't act an ass, which is funny because when we get these invitations, sometimes I wonder when we send out invitations, not to BMU, but just in general, and we say we offer these peaceful conversations.
Correct.
There's like 9 people on the panel and 2 only really from one community. Now, if I'm the host, I want to even it out because if not, it feels like a slaughter. I mean, it feels like a setup, like, you know. So when you talk about Bubs, when you talk about that you survived, I mean, you didn't come out with a scratch. Like, yes, you went over there and looked at ease, like, hey, what's it like? What? Like, that's what
I ain't never scared. Okay, I know who I am.
Right. Hey, if you didn't mind, I want to comment. I heard a couple of those stories you just read.
Yes.
I just wanted to give a little feedback if you're okay.
Yes, please. Go ahead. I'm gonna mute myself. Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the beliefs or conversation is not so much that a kid was touched and now that they turned gay. You can't turn gay. It's no sprinkle dust. You know, you can't put it on someone, right? So, but you take the fear of the unknown and you believe these stories without checking it out yourself. But then also what happens when people struggle with trying to figure out, why am I getting an erection to when someone touched me? Why am I getting a feel good from that time when I was a little kid? And instead of investigating what those sensories were about, instead of embracing what those sensories were about, like, why did that feel good? Am I the bad person? There's an attachment right away with, oh my gosh, because I'm fantasizing about the offense. And what people don't tell you, heterosexuals do the same thing. If it's a heterosexual couple, or not couple, but little girl, older man, whatever, or vice versa, they have those same fantasies about their victimizer. Okay, this is not one-sided, but the ones who say it was a guy and I feel so horrible, and because of the stigma that comes with it, then I don't want to explore what that might be. And then later people realize like they actually liked the feeling, not the offense. They liked the feeling, but I better not. And I'll speak bad to it because I want to speak bad to what happened, to the event. But the event are not the people. The event is not the people. Just like I would say to anyone who was touched in a heterosexual way, that event, you are not that trauma. You are not that trauma. The other piece, that story you read about the offense, the heterosexual offense. What they don't tell you in most of the stories, the ones who, and I heard you say it, the ones who offend, most likely the ones who were offend, they had something going on earlier that they didn't speak to. They didn't speak to those truths. And it's easier to pick a group that's considered a target and to victimize them. It is much easier to do that than to deal with the realities that I like something. So instead of just saying, man, in high school, why? Junior high, why was I turned on in the locker room to the other guys? What was happening? Instead of exploring that, I take that anger out. And then here's the danger. And this is when people go on those panels, this is one of the things I wish people would highlight. You can't say things and get people worked up and not be responsible for the damage that you might cause, for the pain you might cause. So, and I was saying, but it didn't pick up any traction. Ruby, I can't think of her last name, but the 4 black kids that went to the all-white school for the first time, they didn't make those announcements. 4 little black kids didn't have the power to go in there.
You talking about Ruby Bridges?
Yes.
Ruby Bridges, yeah.
They didn't have the power to bust up in the school. It was all of the political stuff and the push, but those 4 kids were the ones spit on. Those 4 kids were the ones that now you represent all black people. And so you take one gay person that might say, hey, we wish we had a little something. And then you take this force, this money bag, this power structure to push. And who wouldn't celebrate? Who would not celebrate? Do we not get excited as black people in general when we finally feel heard, when we finally feel heard. Now I won't get into it because we're on this YouTube stuff, but it was a major celebration for a certain president. Major celebration. Even if you didn't get into the politics, it was the color of his skin. But no one wants to talk about some of the other activities that he actually enjoys. Now, I don't know for a fact because I'm not there with him, but we'll ignore that only to highlight that he was this. I mean, and there was celebration after celebration after celebration. And then people got fired at the job when they said, oh, that monkey is the president. People got fired from their job. And we were okay with that. But then we turn around and do the same thing. We turn around and do the same thing, spill this hatred or these comments and swear by it for the kids, and for the kids. But yet I can push the issue for them to play football. I can push the issue for them to do this. I can push the issue. I cannot get their consent. It's because I want you to do it. Yeah. I'm living vicariously through you and having you sign up and you be part of.
Yeah.
So I get the idea we don't want other people to take our kids. We don't want other people to control. But which one in either group of Black people, which one in either group of Black people said, yes, that's what we want? In fact, if you look at the representatives, they don't look like us.
Yeah.
The ones pushing the commercials and doing all that, they don't look like us. Exactly. So instead of beating each other, why can't we support each other?
Exactly.
Why can't we support each other? And if you minus the last, and I'll just start to descend my plane, if minus the last 6, 7, 8, 10 years, minus that, we've actually been together. Yeah. But do you know though, I mean, I'm sure you know, I don't get into too many stats, but people were being abused back then at a smaller rate. You know, you can go down the street and be beat up because you looked a certain way. But they didn't tell you about the ones who actually had very good friendships. They didn't tell you about the ones who, man, crazy looking, but that's my dude. But dude was saying, I am a guy and I dress like a woman and I'm happy this way. But we start adding the social media, and I question, please be aware of what data and what media you're taking in and what influence you're taking in, because now I went from the person who felt beautiful being themselves, no matter what their gender was, no matter how they classify themselves, they felt beautiful. And we now demonize that and said it's an ugly thing to be beautiful. And then we start putting it in, well, because of your beauty now, don't force it on me. Don't force it on me. I don't know anyone personally that's come to me in my face and said, you better, you better, you better.
Right.
I've had some people say, I identify my pronouns. I've had people do that. But no one is. So sometimes when we're doing these talking points, do we actually have real life experience? Or are we just jumping on the hoopla that we hear and then retaliating against the wrong people? And after a while, and please don't get it confused, I heard you say it once before, I heard the sound effects.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I heard the sound effects.
Yes, I ain't got it.
Yeah. Right,
it's over there, but I ain't got it.
Yeah, I heard the sound effects. And people forget, don't get it twisted. If you have material, they have material too. We all have material.
Right.
We all have access to something.
Come on.
And don't get it twisted. Since I'm already the enemy, since I'm already messed up one, since I'm the one that's delusional, since I'm the one that's crazy, since I'm the one that's spoiling the paint, you should probably be the one that's on alert. Because I stay on alert. I stay ready. I stay ready. And I think people forget that. They think this heterosexual stuff means that we're the best and the beast and all that and we win. No, it does not work that way.
Right.
So as a cis heterosexual male, I am not here for the battle of who's what. I'm here to say whatever people do is on them. But if we're spreading wrong information, if we're spreading lies, if we're saying things that's going to get people hurt, I'm here to say stop. Stop. And why are you doing that? Why? That's your issue. Your issue. My abandonment issues. I don't want to lose my kid, so now I'm holding on to the kid. My issues to say I'm going to just let them go. Nobody's just letting their kid go. Just letting their kid go. And if you do, then I wonder who's really the bad one here. I won't say bad. if you could just let your kid go that easily, then I wonder if they were safe with you in the first place. Were they safe with you in the first place, that you were abandoned a kid?
Wow.
Because something that you said they were influenced by, stolen, taken hostage. So if that's the case, that means that's out of their control. And while something that happened to them that was out of their control, you decided to abandon them. For real? That's how it works. That's how it works. Folks need help. You need help if that's the way you're thinking. Seriously. So again, I'll land that. I mean to take hostage of the time and anything like that.
Oh no.
I appreciate it.
Oh no.
And I'm open for any questions or comments or.
Most definitely. I do have some questions, and I don't really have like a time limit. I'm just kind of going with the flow with it. So again, I'm just going with the conversation. I do have some questions because, of course, I ask questions and they really don't get answered. Like you said, you put something in the chat and it kind of just, I guess, flew over people's heads. But since you're here, I'm going to make the example or create the example for the healthy conversations. But I'm going to actually ask you 3 initial questions, and then I might have some more. If you have any questions in the chat, just drop them down below. I don't know if you were there for this question when I asked it, but here's a scenario. They were talking about shoving queerness down people's throats. So the scenario is, for example, I'm out on the town with my partner, right? And we're walking down, let's say, a river walk somewhere. There are families around, couples around, just all types of people around. And just like everybody else, I decide that I want to express some form of PDA, whether it's holding my partner's hand as we're walking by the river, or sneaking or sharing a kiss. To you, Dr. Nakumbe, would you consider that me shoving my sexuality down your throat? Why or why not?
Unless you actually get the tongue down my throat. No, it's not. It's not shoving anything.
Right. Thank you.
Anything down my throat. You know, the talking points are this. It doesn't look natural. Okay?
Right.
Got it.
Right.
But yeah, we'll take someone to get on the train or a bus or even in the street and look at 2 women and expect, not just hope. I don't know if you heard about those cases where people, the women have been bullied, the lesbians have been bullied into, y'all better kiss. So we entertain for our own freakiness the women, lesbians. So two of the same gender looks freakish and nasty and just keep it at home. But when it's to our convenience and our deviance and perverted selves, and we're entertained by it and we want to see it.
Right.
You got to play fair. You got to play fair.
You have to.
You got to play fair.
Lil Boosie said it first. She like it nasty, nasty. He like 2 women together. And I think even with that, within the queer community, we've had conversations, especially for, let's be honest, gay men who are more feminine or the feminine energy. For some reason, it's okay for men to accept lesbianism, especially if it's feminine lesbianism, because they can, like you said, mentally and emotionally insert themselves in between. What's better than one? Why not have 2? You know what I mean? So it's more acceptable. So there is a double standard there, and I wish that people would just address the double standard. Just be honest. You have queer people being honest. We're judging honesty here. We're judging people walking in their truth here, and if that's the case, say something about you. Secondly, let's see that. Go ahead.
So I'm a certified forensic counselor, and I actually work with offenders, have for about 15 years. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Dream analysis. So Dr. Adler, right after Freud, said the fantasy about 2 women involves a level of intimacy, because women offer nurturing. So you have 2 nurturers, and you have a person with low intimacy, like I feel low and empty inside, like I have a hole inside, so no matter how much you pour into me, it seeps out. So the idea of 2 nurturers together feels and looks just, Then you add what's called hostility towards women. So you take a child, and mom stubs her toe at 2 a.m, coming to change the baby, little brother or little sister's diaper. And they stubbed it to crack the toe. But in the morning, they're back up at 5, 6, 7, helping dad get ready, helping mama get ready, do whatever. And the kid is looking at mama like, wow, you're really serving someone after you broke your toe last night,
Right.
you're stupid. But I don't say that out loud because you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Correct.
And I'm not going to go against the other parent. So I build this subconscious hostility towards mama. Now, if mama in this case is a female, I grow up later wanting my partner, if I'm heterosexual or not, I want the partner to offer the nurturing that should have come from my mama.
Wow. Okay.
I spent all that time trying to get that partner. And then when I finally get them, I spend the rest of the time trying to break them, because the other side of the brain experienced betrayal. It was a psychological internal betrayal, like, wow, mom, you're stupid. You're my mother who I watched you break your toe and still keep going, but you can't tell this person no. So that's, I feel betrayed. And I now take that out on my partner, the one I wanted so badly. The idea about men is that men cause pain. And it's all through our images, throughout our, just, as a kid, we grow up, everything for a boy is breaking. Tonka trucks, they sold Matchbox cars, the little cars that already had the dent in them. If you remember those. Yeah, or those commercials where they take the cars and crash them, boom. Everything's about smash, break, and destroy.
Explosions, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I see a male that's not nurturing and soft, I think, how dare you? And especially if I witness anything as a kid where the man is supposed to be. So then I personalize it like, no, you're not going to be, you don't get to be. I'm the authority on that, and I'll either hurt you. As you know, there are plenty of people out there, I'm sure you read the stories, there are people out there, imposter syndromes, who infiltrate to get in just to hurt people.
Trojan horses, yep.
Yes. So they get in to hurt people on purpose. But in the hetero community, what I'm finding out more and more, especially my clients who come in and say, man, Doc, you don't even know. You don't. Let me tell you something. There's so many of my hetero friends who either picked fights with me or talked crazy to me or challenged me and pushed me. But I think they really want to have something intimate with me, but they don't know how to speak to it.
Right.
They don't know how to speak to it. It's almost like I either heard it on your network or somewhere else, like those teenagers that hit each other and play with each other really because they like each other. So it's that whole idea where some people enjoy hurting and demonizing this thing about the man, the male is not supposed to be that way. It's nasty, it's horrible, it's terrible. But part of them knows that the real anger is with themselves because they happen to either like it, desire it, and or they're going off this messaging in their head that has no evidence about these people, no evidence. They have the evidence to their experience of where the hostility comes from, but not anyone else. So who are we to hurt other people about this experience? Anyway, I just wanted to say that about that lesbian piece where they find the nurturing in that, and then they find the torture in the men. So the men part is wrong.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Being that you're in the profession that you are and you are certified, which means that you are an expert, you specialize in this, and you have a lot of validity behind you. Do a lot of the men over there literally actively listen to what you say, or does it kind of like go in one ear and out the other a lot of the times? Yeah,
I find that I'm lucky, I'm fortunate. My style allows me to be heard.
Okay.
I'm a former stand-up comedian too, so I use a lot of humor in my stuff.
Exactly, that's me. Same thing. You have to. You have
right,
to.
Right. And because I drop my goal, because even if I say the truth, but it's, you know, whose truth? So my goal is to really look at what are some realistic things, because reality is nothing more than a concept if you want to believe it or not. So my thing is to look at, okay, how did we get here? What is your reality? And I've done a few exercises where people are like, oh, and you can't dispute it. So when I get them in a position where you can't dispute it, it's like, oh, so then they go off to speaking points. Right? Well, no, that's not what we were talking about. No, come back. So like the whole child thing, I have some people who are still mad at me from a few weeks. I should say mad is too strong. I have some people who disagree with me from a few weeks ago when they were on the show and I was on the same show saying, wait a second, you're just going to let go of your kid. That's your abandonment issue. People are like, whoa, why are you making it about us? And so you would. If I don't, I'll be a hypocrite. Now, there's a difference between the kid who's an alcoholic, the kid who's into some type of, it's even different for the kid who has mental illness and they can't control it. So they're banging pots and pans at 2 a.m. and causing your housing development to get the police called. And you're like, you're more than what I can manage.
Wow.
So the disconnect is because you're above, I'm going to lose housing. Well, that's your kid. Yes, it is, but there's certain circumstances where there are resources, and not that I would want to put a kid in a home, but those resources are designed for that. But when we're talking about someone who has a different sexual identity, or they enjoy a partner because of the way they enjoy the partner, I mean, is it like a jealousy thing? Like what? How does that relate? How does that, if I had a son bring home a super, super fine woman, I mean, at best, I'm just like, damn, son. But,
okay.
Right, I mean, but not to the point where I
taking
don't
after your old dad there.
Yeah. I don't like
him.
it. You can't do. So they listen. I'm in a unique position where I think I've connected and built enough trust in what I say that they're able to say, The other thing is, I think because the human side of me can lock on. Sometimes the human side of me does lock on because I have my personal beliefs. But when I'm up there saying, okay, here's what people should know, here's the truth, and then if my personal belief goes against that, I need to check what I'm saying. I'm not like some of these professionals out there actually helping to not teach. I think that's my duty is a full package job. It's not only to serve and serve you like for mental health and stuff, it is also to educate and to be honest and uphold ethics.
Yes.
And if I can't BS you or finagle you or mind F you, because I want to get the edge on something. No. So I think that the trust, the BMU network and all those guys, they brought me in and said, okay, to the point where sometimes when I'm on the show, it is bringing up Dr. Nakumbi from a clinical perspective, because I say, hey, I need to separate shenanigans and entertainment from here's some reality perspectives. It doesn't work for everyone. Just some perspective. So yeah, I've established some trust, and they listen, and I listen to them.
That's good. And that's what I'm glad about, because even with the live, and I told them, I did a pre-live on my Instagram. I was hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst, because I already kind of felt like what the energy was going to give. Even when I initially got there, everybody was quiet and kind of on their toes. But like as the conversation happened, I was like, wow, so there's a possibility for us to actually somewhat see the common ground. But then it's like we talk about seeing the common ground and then we just leave it at that. Like, where is the application of that? And and that's why it's like both sides have some valuable things that I think would benefit all of us. And I feel like if we start being strategic as far as, okay, we know some people that we can trust, that even if the conversation gets a little spicy, they'll be able to reel it back in. You know what I mean? Of course, you need the entertainment aspect, because that's a part of life. Drama's a part of life. It's what propels life forward. But it doesn't have to be unnecessary toxic drama. It can be healthy and all that.
And part of that trust must come from both sides. If I see you, we just say coming to that side of the home, going there. And I'm someone they trust and someone that I want to establish trust with you. Why would I not also play a role in, whoa, where are we going with this? What are we doing? We have guests over here. So, but just to sit idly and watch and enjoy the show, watch people go after each other, I think that's harmful also. Because you say you want to establish something, but yet I watched innocent bystander move, I just kind of watched. So I know for a fact over there, we lay into each other and then we come back together. But if you lay into a community that already feels like you don't give a F about me, how you expect that now I can lean in for the hug? How do I stick my hand out to say, yeah, that was fun, that was cool, when you just spit on me? How does that work? So I think building that relationship first, building that common ground first. All right, now y'all ready to get loose? Let's do it, because that's what we came for.
Right.
And some people can do it, some people can't. So I just wanted to add that.
Okay, cool, no problem. And whenever you want to add anything, just go ahead. I'll put a pin in it because it's about the flow of the conversation, and I appreciate you taking the time out to be here. Boy Crazy says, "Hello, Doc. Is there a concept that can help explain the Oedipus and Electra complexes? Oh wow, I'm fucking this up. In terms of fighting for the attention of the same gender against the opposite sex instead of the attention of the opposite gender against the same sex." I hope that made sense. Okay.
You know what? I think one of the things is people don't recognize how much is in common.
Right.
How much is in common. I was making a point the other day that didn't land, but they knew what I was talking about. Someone was going on and on about the vagina, the power of the vagina, the power of the vagina.
The power of the vagina. You tried the vagina, you will like it. I'm telling you, it's God blessed. It's blessed by God. You don't want to try. Let me stop.
Right. But I said, well, but it's an unbalanced argument. If we're going to have that argument, then we should include the penis. No. A penis was a vagina. The clit. It's a grown-out clit. So if we're comparing or using that kind of analogy or that tool, the vagina is, then you have to include the penis. And if the vagina enjoys, then the penis enjoys. And if the vagina enjoys the friction, the penis enjoys the friction. You didn't say where it goes. You didn't say when the vagina goes or what goes in the vagina. You just say, oh, the beauty of the vagina. You extend that clit out, and now it's the beauty of the penis. And then whenever you ask, well, is it okay to put it in a woman's mouth or some other areas of her body that's not the vagina? Oh, that's wrong. That's sinful. Oh, now it's sinful. Sex before marriage is sinful. You didn't mention that part. You just said the vagina, the vagina, the vagina. So again, any people, move goalposts. So I think to answer your question, there are many more things we have in common. Again, ejaculation is ejaculation. Love is love. Kissing is kissing. Yeah, but that's another. Okay, so something that you don't like, something that you don't prefer. We don't have the authority. Outside of us, we don't have the authority of what other people want or like. So the genders have their specific role, the sexes, have their specific roles. Female for reproduction, male, they have their specific roles. But when it comes to the idea of romance and love and connection and intimacy and understanding and communication and partnership, there's people who get that with the damn dog. There's military folks who got a dog and love their canine, won't change their canine in for nothing. That's about intimacy and connection. Right. Are we going to damn them because they have a connection with the canine? They feel closer to the bottle, the alcoholics. They feel closer to the bottle, the alcoholics. That's their form of a relationship, an intimate relationship with that product. We got people who enjoy their edibles, right?
I admit that.
Right.
I ain't gonna, right. Me. Okay?
Right, but the relationship with hair, the relationship with money, the relationship with cars. Do you know there's even forms of arousal? You can have purse arousal, money arousal, car arousal, full erection or moist between the legs over an item that you feel connected to. So I think the battle, the people make it to their advantage. Some people make it to their advantage. They'll pick out the gender part of it that works to their advantage, and then they'll flip it when they need to, and then talk about the sexes or talk about how one is better than the other, or one is supposed to be more better than the other. And I think those are just all, again, talking points, and people not really getting to the meat of what they're talking about.
Do you believe that the information age that we live in now can sometimes be like an overload or overwhelm people to where, because they don't have the time for it, they could possibly start to demonize it? I hope that made sense. Like, what is your perspective on that?
I still think we have a choice to demonize it. We can get overwhelmed by it. But is the real true pain about the overwhelm?
Right.
Not You know, so if some feeds came on my stuff right now and I'm watching and like boom, and then I'm really irritated, exhausted, but instead of going to bed, because sometimes this becomes like an addiction.
Yes.
So the addictive part of me, but then I see something that I get to attack. The frustration is really about, damn, I should have gone to bed, right? So then I find something that I should have attacked. Here's a perfect example. Again, I work with people who have actually experienced trauma on both sides, and so they become very addicted to corn watching.
Yes.
And for those of you listening in the chat, I know you don't ever watch it and stuff, and that's, you know, you stay away from it. But for those who have,
I'm screaming.
Yeah, they used to have these full-hour features, 2-hour features, music and talk. I don't want to discuss it anymore. And they turn around.
There was theatrics behind it.
Yes,
production.
theatrics.
Yeah.
And now those things are like 8-second clips. And they actually got together with psychologists. Some of the companies got together with psychologists and said, how can we give the people what they want? And if you even look at some of the YouTube things where you can see the graph, what was the most watched part, right? They were doing that. What is the most desired? So they took the best of the oral, the best of the, and then the best of the end. Okay, so they put that together, 8-second clips. And they start putting it out there, boom, boom, boom. You can just click, 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 click. But then the advertisers said, hey, we want a piece of the pie. So how do you put advertisement into corn? So for those of you who've never clicked, you don't know what I'm talking about. And I just heard this. I don't know for sure.
Right.
But so but you click and all of a sudden the advertisement comes on. And it's usually the advertisement for like watch a webcam person.
Yeah.
So it's like you click on the video and then the advertisement, you won't believe the rage some people get because a 10-second advertisement came on like and then one of the kinds you have to wait for it to play. Like you just can't pick it out.
Like there ain't no skip ad on this?
Right, yeah. So you have to wait the full 18 seconds or whatever, and then you can press skip. But my whole point about it is the
Hold on, how you know it's 18 seconds? You say you don't watch it. How you know it's 18?
That's what I heard.
How you know?
I have to watch some of it to see what my clients are watching.
Understand? Well, you got to know what they know.
Well, that's true. I'll be first to tell you, one is legal, and two, I've had my fair entertainment of watching and my favorites and all this stuff. The problem is you have to know how to manage it because our sensory are in our eyes. We talk about that overload. So my frustration really is with this commercial that came on. What do I say? Effing stupid. I don't want to see that shit. If there's a couple on there, I might even go as far as calling the guy the name, right? So it's heterosexual. I'm like, his dumb ass. What I want is, come on, click. So the overload is really about the fact that I know I want to go to bed, should have gone to bed 2 hours ago. I'm still awake. I'm still overload. Look at this dummy. Look at this. And then I actually take it out on that, and that's not the true case. So now you get a bunch of boom, boom, boom. Now trans, now gay, now trans, women versus men, and then I just lump it all together and be like, man, these MFers and so and bleep bleeps are all crazy. Yeah. But yet not taking ownership for myself, just blaming the overload on someone else.
Right. I just don't understand, and I don't know. Do you believe that in the Black community, and I believe it's rising now, but do you think in the Black community at large, we kind of still struggle with mental health and speaking about past experiences and dealing with guilt and shame? Do you feel like there's still a lot of work there that needs to be done, especially with Black men?
Yeah, we're so far removed from the stigma that comes with it.
Yes.
And there are family members who say, I don't want you on those meds, and they mean it out of general care and concern. I don't want you on those Western meds. I just don't know what's going to do to the body. Yeah, people who may have taken meds and the meds didn't give them the best results or the side effects. So that's just meds, but the stigma is don't go see somebody that's going to put you on meds. Our history with ADHD and kind of just giving diagnosis like Skittles, just giving it out. How many Black kids have oppositional defiance behavior? How many people have depression? They get these diagnosis after diagnosis. So one, for a person who wants to steer clear of being caught into that engine, right, of the stigma and the mental health. One that wants to stay away from, I don't want to be on meds for the rest of my life. And ones who have access, but they have some really bad experiences, so they don't want to go back. Or they went for someone who listens, but the person didn't feel resolved. So you gotta do your research before you go in, because you can get a generalist. You can get someone that has a big shingle up there in the sign that says we care and we love, we want to hear your problems. But we're really going for a specific problem. Not only look for a place that you feel safe, look for a place that really understands not just you, but the benefit you're looking for. The benefit you're looking for. That's critical, because if they can understand the benefit you're looking for, you might have better results. So you have those who are underinsured, no insurance, with insurance, but really can't find a good connection with someone that they want. You have those who have cash, they don't want it on their records. My first responders that I see, firefighters, social workers, teachers, school, fire, ambulance, all those, they don't want to pay with their insurance because that goes on your record. So if you get a diagnosis of depression, anxiety, anything, PTSD, that could be used against them later if they're going for promotion. So a lot of people don't even know you could pay cash and skip over any insurance panels, not have to do that. But where do we get that information? I don't think enough people are talking about the benefits and or how you get to benefit from it. So yes, I think we're well below the mark of services we can receive. And then I believe when we are able to receive those services, we're well below the mark of actually getting the quality service that we need.
Okay.
I'll give you one example here. There's a place called Pride Institute. So Pride Institute they have the counseling, but they don't have the in-house therapies. So we get referrals and they say, oh, are you gender friendly or relationship, alternate relationship friendly, all these different words, friendly. And I would say, I'm friendly. And they're like, oh, what does that mean? I said, well, what did you mean? And you won't believe, well, you get it, but you won't believe how many people have said, yeah, people said they'll talk to me the second I get into my true need, desire, pain, struggle, challenge. They either discard me, or it seems like the session ended quickly, or they don't have any more openings. Because they personalized it, they judged, they had this kind of they projected on me. So those who are out there, they want to announce, but at the same time, if I have a big announcement, yes, I take all well, then when you go through those doors, it's like, well, hi, thank you. So I think that there needs to be an effort on the community side, the professional side, to say, hey, how can we show that we are welcoming? How can we show that we're not here for judgment? Because problems are problems. If a zebra has a problem, or this animal, but if whatever has, if a short person or a tall person, if they're overweight, or they may have a few different problems, but overall, at the end of the problem is what? The stress, the grief, the loss, the betrayal, the sadness, the happiness, the joy, the love, all these different things at the end of that, which we all share. So I encourage for anyone who feels like, ooh, Houston, we have a problem. Do your research, see if you can find someone that's supportive, and go get the help. If it doesn't work, it's just like a bad pair of shoes. You might have to try on a different pair at another point.
Yes. See, we need more of this. We need, and even in the queer community, that's what I try to do as well, because because of the lack of love from external spaces like parents, which I feel should be the first place where you discover love, or any sort of person who's a guardian over you should be one of the first places you learn love. And then being told from these religious institutions at large that this is our interpretation of how we view you, the sin that's attached to the person. So the person has to deal with all of the stuff that you're judging the sin for. So you have all
Right.
these things going on. It's like, I ask this question because we could definitely get deep. Okay, so hypothetically speaking, if you, do you have children? If you don't mind me asking, do you have children? You do. Okay, so as a father, if one of your children or one of your children hypothetically came to you and said, "Dad, I feel like I'm trans," and I had asked this question and I didn't get an answer, I just got talked over. But in your perspective, what would you believe would be a reasonable yet healthy like middle ground with you and your trans child, as far as allowing your trans child to have some form of expression, like removing the medical aspect aside? What would you feel like, okay, I can work with this, even though I might be struggling a little bit? If that's the case, I can at least do this so that you can also find out if this is your path as well. What would you consider?
So kind of my just regular straight answer, like, Dad. Now, this is the old joke. I can't even say it. Like, I can still say it, but it's not as funny as it used to be. I was going to say it. I'm like a Cosby.
Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, it's humor. So everything's rooted in humor.
I like dark humor. I grew up during the eras of Mad TV and stuff, so I can laugh at it. So you be free to say what you want to say over here. Cool. Go ahead.
Right. But what I mean is, in the home, my home, we laugh before we get angry. That's the goal.
Okay. Right.
But now that comes from years of being angry and then learning how to laugh.
Wow. Okay.
So years of anger, then feeling comfortable to laugh. So that conversation really is the fun, because I want to take out the awkwardness. I want to take out the fear of conversation, the fear of judgment. I want to suck that right out of the air right away. So I'm jumping in with humor. What? Now, what does that even mean? Did you say you're a train? What did you say? You know, because I want them to really articulate. No, I said trans. What does that mean? You don't know what all the people you. Now I know what it means for them. What does it mean for you?
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't want you just to be a label. Don't just tell me the label. Who are you? Because if you minus the label, right? Who are you? And what is it? What did that mean? Oh, I'm going to switch. Okay, that's what you want to do. The question is, how did we get there? Not why, as in you need to justify, but how do we get there? Because I do believe that some people will influence some people to make changes that are permanent for some temporary thing. So
I agree with that.
Depending the age of the child, what if they believe that they're gay and they actually have another partner, but one of them wants to be a female? It's like, well, you need to be the female. So the conversation is about one of us needs to be a male representative and one needs to be a female representative, but we're two men.
Right.
So let's say it's my son who says, well, I want to be the female in the relationship. Got it. What does that consist of? I want to be the nurturer, kind of just go off some generic ones. I want to be the nurturer. I want to be the submissive. I want to be the whatever that comes with being a woman. Got it. So that's what you're looking for. Pending, again, the development in the stage. Some parts I would be like, we're talking about some permanent. I mean, how far do you want to go with it?
Right.
And then I have to be mindful. People, I don't want to have that conversation. It is a mindful conversation. That's part of being a parent. Excuse you if it takes some time out of your schedule or out of your whatever. You have to have a mindful conversation. Yeah, you do. So I have to be mindful of what I'm saying. Well, let's think about this. Let's think. How do you picture all this kind of rolling out? First of all, I'm glad you shared it with me. Let's acknowledge the fact that you had the courage to share with me. Because of all the times I said, you could tell me anything, and I'm hoping my response confirmed that you can tell me anything. Sometimes we say those things, but then, whoa, I didn't mean that shit. I mean, what the? Wow. So that shit as in me and who I want to be, that shit right there, is that what we're talking about? So the conversation, again, not the old me, because the old me would have been caught up in the stereotypes and all the stuff that the media said. The old me would have been like, they done got to you now. Right? They got to you. What does that mean? Because how many things have gotten to me? Right? How many things have gotten to me? I don't remember signing up to be heterosexual. I don't remember the list, the checklist. I don't remember the prayer. I don't remember anything where I got to choose being heterosexual. And how many things have I subscribed to, or have people gotten to me? Goddamn Valentine's commercial, Valentine's Day. Didn't they get to me? So save me with the bullshit about, they got. But back then it would have been they got to. So now it's, hey, where do you come up with this from? Is it something you've been feeling inside? Cool. Yeah. Oh, if it's something that you watched and believe or heard in the news, let's find out the facts first before we see if this is what you really want to do. And when you find out this is something you really want to do what you got to do. You're still my child. Right. End of the day, you're still my child. So that's the approach that I would want to take. I mean, my shorties are all up and out, but that's the approach because I feel it's safer, it's more genuine, and it keeps me connected. If my whole thing was about my legacy, why would I want to cut that off? But they won't be able to have kids. I didn't know if they were going to be able to have kids in the first place. There's no guarantee. Just because you put them out there, you can have a daughter, and that daughter you still don't know. There's no guarantee. LeBron. Exactly. What just happened to LeBron? Right? Now, excuse me, I didn't keep up with the whole story, but I know his son went to the hospital. And you won't believe how many people are crushed by the idea that he might not get to play basketball like his father. And I get that. I get it. I do. But there was no guarantee he was going to go that route anyway.
Exactly.
So when it comes to my kid might not be able to have a kid if they go that way, I didn't have any guarantees. In fact, if they go on the route that was meant for them, then this is the route that was meant for them. This wasn't like a trap door. Like they went through the wrong door. So it was a long-winded answer, but my point is, I believe any parent, myself included, should be willing to listen. Because as the parent,
no, what you said? I'm sorry, finish.
Oh yeah, as the parent, you're also listening for protecting, not to hurt, not to challenge, but listening for, God, is that what you feel? Right. And where did how can I support you in it? And there's some things I will say no to. There's some things. Tattoos, rings, and all that. In my home, it was about when you get 18, you can punch all the holes and do everything you want to. Right. Now, my shorty actually, Mike Tyson. Had the thing, and my shorty did. And part of the reason I'm really just sticking to shorty is because the work that I do in Minnesota, your clients can know all your personal information, so your address and all that, because they can sue you. So the reason I don't really get into my personal stuff is because they can hear it and then they can. So my shorty had the tattoo, and when I was talking to them, they were facing this. Yeah.
It's like the episode of the Cosby Show when
remember that the earring? Yes.
And stuff.
Right. But when they talk to me again, because we use humor in our family, when I finally saw it, I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so relieved." And like, what? I said, "I'm so relieved." You know how many times I've changed classes at school, and how many jobs I applied for, like this career and that career. Oh, look, with that there, you just knocked out 50% of your career choices. Oh, and they were like, "What?" I said, "You did. Like that shit on your face."
You
knocked out 50% of your work choices, but damn, you still look good. They're like, "Okay," and I said, "You still look good. I never pictured you would." I mean, let me see. And I explored and I asked because it was a full little thing. What does it mean? And but we razz each other. I razz them all the time. Like, wow, look at you. They got more work done. So more power to you. And then I asked a serious question. Hey, may I ask a question? Some of your work is about expressing yourself. Absolutely. You said this one over here represents pain. This one over here represents harmony. This one over here represents love. Is there a role I played in that? Oh, why do you think it's about you? No. No, what I'm saying is, did I miss anything that I can do something about now? So I can honor what you're saying. I want to honor that. I don't want to say, well, that's stupid, and if you felt that way, and why do you? No. Because wherever this pain came from, if I played a role or not, how can I honor them? And I think that's the other piece that parents miss, regardless if we like it or not, is an opportunity to find out how can we honor it. Some kids will say, do nothing. I know you don't like this. I know you're against it, but I just want to be your kid still. And some will actually tell you things. And if you have a choice, you don't have to do everything they ask. Hey, can you get me one of them smash 'em up bras and stuff and then sign me up for boys volleyball? Let me think about it. Well, you said you want to honor, but doesn't mean I'm just going to do everything and anything.
Correct.
But the one thing I won't do is bash you and help demonize you because you didn't come up with them damn decisions on your own. Not the choice they made. I'm talking about if they truly felt this all their life, where was the choice button? Where did they press the button to switch?
Right.
That was in them, the same way my DNA or whatever it was, and it developed the way it did, and theirs developed the way it did. That was not
what led to the expression of it.
Right. Thank you. That. And if you felt it for a long time and have not expressed it, I just want to know what took you so long. Because I might be doing shit I can't see beyond the tip of my nose. Because we'll say we support you, but do stuff and not even realize we're doing it. Hey, y'all, this is my kid. Come on, right? But see, what's that about? So we say certain things, but we really don't stick to it. And so if this kid is saying, well, I felt this way, or I changed this way because of some trauma. Did we not play a role in that somehow? The development of the child, we played a role in it. And we have some perfect parents out there, and their kids are the
Okay. No shade. Like I was talking to a friend of mine today, who it's so crazy. It's this guy that is the son of a pastor, and his father is very queerphobic, but yet his son is questioning his sexuality. So it's like very interesting. That's why I talk a lot about fear, because from a spiritual standpoint, people don't understand that what you resist will always persist because you're putting your energy and attention into that. So the more hateful you are, the universe will be like, oh, so you must want more of this. Okay, so let me keep giving it to you and giving it to you until it's in your face. So
now here's what I believe about that. Because we can't get more than we can handle.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're given these things to work it through. Okay, so you keep talking about it. Here you go. Now what? Here you go. Because on one end, you're talking about love and family and love and family and love and family, but you won't ever love this. Well, now you got it. Now what? Now you got it. Now what?
And now it's in your family. Are you going to love the family? Because it's included in the family. So, when you were talking, and for the people who follow me on this page, people would say that, and I came up. Well, I didn't come up with it. Someone said it, but I said it 3-4 times, so now it's mine. But they said it like, for people who are long-winded, I don't give long-winded responses. I give educated and nuanced responses. Now, if you want to mentally fly Spirit Airlines and we over here flying Delta, that's okay.
Right.
If there are some people that got master's degrees and there are some people that chose Education Connection.
Right.
There's still some value there, but of course there's levels to this shit. But so back to the trans thing, and I have a few more questions, and I think Harold has another question as well. And let me know if you have to go or anything.
Yep. Let's do it till about 11:30. All right. It's 11:30 my time. I don't know what time. 11, whatever. It's 11:06 my time. It's like about 20 minutes.
Okay, I'm ahead of you an hour. Okay, awesome. That'll work. So back to the trans thing. So they were talking about the medical thing. So moving the medical thing aside, would you consider this a kind of meeting at the middle, like, or the gray area of like, okay, I could do this. If your child was to come to you and say they're trans, and they say, okay, well, since I can't have anything medically done, and to your point, Dad, you're right, I don't want to make permanent decisions for something that could be temporary. Speaking of temporary, would it be okay if I were to dress in the garments of the opposite sex? Because I can at least take it off. So if those were like, I guess, the from compromise. Do you feel like that's a good compromise, or like what would you feel would be a good compromise, safe for you? What would you think? Would that be safe?
It's safe. I wouldn't do it in my home. I would say, well, here's what our values and principles are about.
Okay.
And based on that, your expression would represent X, Y, and Z. There are certain cliques or groups that you might be part of. Do it. Okay. But as the lead of my home, the representative of my home, that part I wouldn't do. Now we also start looking at what age. Because we're talking 16, 17, 18. Son, do your thing. And if I feel uncomfortable with it, then that's on me.
Right.
But at that age, it's really, they're coming into their own. You know, and I have to be ready for that bridge. That's the bridge I have to be ready for.
The rebellious stage.
Right. And I'd rather us compromise and work together. But how can I help you have that expression? But here's the deal. I wouldn't be a fan of that. Okay. And if my kid says, so then that means you're not a fan of me. Then I have to do some soul searching. Wow. Right. So that's their expression. That's who they feel they are. I have to do some serious soul searching. Yes. I can always land on the heavy, I'm dad and I said so. I can always land on that. But a happy home, a happy kid, I'm not talking about deletion. I believe all was going to pass away one day anyway. But at the same time, is it because I ignored your needs and your values and blah, blah, blah? So at a certain age, I have to understand it's no longer about my needs. It's about their needs. And then I have to do my age development stuff. Like, you're 9 years old talking about that type of stuff? Okay, cool. Here's what I would like to go. Let's revisit this 16. Oh my God, I'll be gone by that's a lifetime. I know. But check this out. What you're talking about doing could be equal to those years. And if you can't handle blah, blah, blah for a certain amount of years to wait and see, then I wonder if you can actually handle so that would be my response, that at a certain age, I wouldn't allow certain types of change.
Okay. Understandable. And again, you were able to express where you stood from, and there were no throwing of daggers, wasn't no bombs dropped, wasn't none of that. Like, I know that it's possible. I just want to get to know where people's head are at. Okay, so another thing was the sexualization of children and these sexual books, in that, you know, a teacher shouldn't be teaching my child about sex. I should. So let me ask you this question again, hypothetically speaking. If you had a queer child and, you know, like you said, let's revisit this at 16. Or now we're at an age where the hormones are starting to come into play, and they start saying, okay, Dad, you know, if it's a gay, let's say a son is gay. Okay, Dad, I'm starting to have these feelings again, like things are happening to my body that I don't know, but it's not happening for women or females, it's happening for males. If you don't want someone teaching your children about sex, especially queer sex, do you feel like you would have to take the initiative to teach your child the healthy aspects of sex and possibly queer sex? And if so, how do you think you would go about doing that? Like, what do you think for you?
Yeah, my personal belief is you can teach about the boogeyman, but if the kid is not, they don't subscribe to the boogeyman, they're not going to worry about the boogeyman. And they can say, hey, this is who I identify, this is who I am. And when you go to the school, they're going to teach you X, Y, and Z. But really, once you're out of the school, so they're giving you information. What you do with the information, right? That's what it is. What do you do with
all that math shit in high school is gone.
Right.
Gone. Okay.
Right. So learn it. Now, am I a fan of a school teaching that? Well, I grew up at the time when we learned body parts. We didn't learn sex. But when we got to the reproductive system, then we knew that these things hold the sperm and this thing holds the egg.
So the scientific aspect of it, yeah.
But putting a condom on a banana, now I'll show you the difference. In 1988, I know way back in the day, but that's when I used to teach. I was known. Oh, okay. That's when I hit my mark. I used to rap. But my rap, it wasn't gangster rap. I was more like Fresh Prince. I was more like a Run DMC, the Fat Boys. That was my time.
Yeah, more of like the uplifting community type of the origins of rap before it was twisted.
So that's what we had, and I loved it. You know, I was I mean, in Minnesota, I was, I had ranking and stuff, but there was a fire. The basketball player, Khalid El-Amin, he was, when he was a kid, there was a fire in his neighborhood. House burned down, and when the fire, the camera people came out, I just did a rap on the spot. I used to freestyle about the fire. Somehow that got out. They came back to me and said, "Can you make an educational video?"
Wow.
Sure. Made the educational video, and they're like, "Wow, we want you. Can you talk about other things?" I'm like, "Sure." Sex, birth, pregnancy prevention, and just then HIV really hit the scene. So I said, "Can you do anything about HIV prevention and anything about abstinence? Don't have sex." Show you how silly I was. I said, "Yeah." We took some pamphlets and stapled. We stapled some condoms.
Oh, hey.
We would hand them out like, "Hey, if you have to have sex, if you have to protect yourself."
That part.
Staple the package. So anyway, yeah. So we were doing that peer education, going to schools, doing this stuff and spreading the word about abstinence or condom use, HIV prevention, But the schools were saying, we don't do that. I got to do that because the schools weren't. So here's the catch-22. I'm a fan of it. Go out and then going into the schools to do it. The schools weren't doing it. I was only 18, 19, so I wasn't part of that vote. I just know it was a gig. I got to go into the schools. Fast forward, if you have people who are at home like this, but just don't teach it, is it okay for the school? If you have people who are not like that, don't look like that at home, but is part of our world, because we learned about, let's go back to if we learned about sex, not just the reproductive, but we will learn about heterosexual sex, right? So if the schools choose that, I'm not a fan of it because I just think, well, what are you promoting? If it's educational, sure. Scientific, sure. If you're actually showing sex videos and stuff, I'm like, what age? What grade level?
Right.
Because you won't have to teach them anything at a certain age. They'll know what to do. You put two strangers on the island and don't show them a thing. They'll figure out what goes in what hole and where and how to do it. Okay. So at a certain age,
both-handed,
smart, right? Smart, healthy education / here's what's going on with your body. Check it out. But at a certain age, no.
Okay, I got you. I just because I understand, like you said, the educational aspect as far as like you said, the preventative aspects, because I know like the whole thing with HIV and AIDS. I believe someone brought it up on the panel. I don't know the panel I was on, but they said they called it GRIDS before it was AIDS, gay-related immune deficiency disease. So it's kind of like, even though the stigma has gone down, it kind of like fluctuates. I think it's higher now because, you know, with C-19, everybody was together and doing stuff or whatever. But I just feel like in reference to queer youth, because I think we forget about the queer youth, they need some sort of representation as well to help them. I'm not saying to show videos of like, oh, this is how you give a person pleasure in the fastest way, like the corn industry does. But but the aspect of, okay, if you're going to do this, this is what you need to do. Because even in queer sex, and I won't get into it, but in generally in queer sex, there are certain procedures that have to be done in order to have a healthy, safe, and enjoyable experience with sex. And I feel like there are some people who don't have to learn until they actually do it. It can be embarrassing. So if there were queer youth at the time that is age appropriate for them to be able to learn certain things so that when they go out into the world, they can just be a lot better. And we live in the information age. Children are learning things at a very fast rate. So we're also growing with the children. And I agree with you. If you're going to have sex, just be safe. I can't stop you from doing anything that you can't do. If you're going to do it, I'd rather you just be educated about it. So I guess the question I can ask you is, what was your, I guess, your clinical and personal, if you don't mind sharing, perspective of the live last night, hearing the perspective from the heterosexual viewpoint? What was your clinical perspective and your personal perspective, if possible?
Yeah. Let me just go back one though. The education. Certain grade levels, you can always make that an elective too.
Okay. Okay.
So those are people who want it, because the
Okay, I got you.
is don't teach mine that lesson, don't teach mine that lesson. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I think all penetration is penetration.
Yeah.
Now, how you do it, rate, speed, pressure, and all that, that's different. Oral sensation is oral sensation. So you can actually have a very generic, this is what this part does, and this is what this part does, this is where you should put it, where you shouldn't, and if you do, here's part, boom.
Right.
Then I think as an elective, for those who want to learn more about blah, 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 it is offered. Now, again, but that curriculum is for those who want
I agree with
to
that.
be at a certain grade, level 10, 11, 12, whatever. And so anyway, I just wanted to say, like, there's ways of still having that education. And if they don't do it in the school, but the school could sponsor your local community center that offers it there, right? Because we have a certain type of school, a certain whatever, X, Y, and Z, religion, whatever. But we do sponsor the same type of education at community center X, Y, and Z. So that way we're not missing that group. Because then that's when you start having people feel not included, secluded, and then creating things on their own, figuring out stuff on their own, when who knows what would it have taken just to offer a class. Doesn't have to be in that school, or if it's in the school, certainly. All right. So my perspective of last night.
Yes.
Now I'm going to say, when I say that community, what I mean is the BMU network. I'm part of that.
Understandable.
Community.
Correct.
So my answer may come with the bias, because it's like, well, that's the community, and I know not everything goes smooth, but at the end of the day, that's what makes it a beautiful community, because we're able to have different perspectives and then come back to each other. I actually went back to someone last night and said, that was funny as shit. The comedian in me thought it was funny as shit about the dick dodgeball.
Oh yeah, I was laughing.
Comedian in me. The reality is, it doesn't work that way. We actually had that conversation where I said, well, these are the stats. It is preferred. And another gentleman on the panel was like, I don't think, show me the stats on that one. I don't think, so I could show you some stats. I mean, I'm on your side. That's not accurate. Safe sex is always recommended, like safe as in what your body can handle, the trauma to the body and all that. But there's nothing you can put in there and all of a sudden the kid gets the germ on them and change and all that, or they got hit with a dick because they're at a certain angle and all of a sudden they felt it and now they want that. But we had that healthy conversation. The person went on to say, well, I thought it was funny and I believe it to be true. And then we rolled with it like, cool, but just so you know, here's some stat until you do the research. Now, did you want me to help you? Because we even talked like, hey, you have to write the book. I'll do the material. You write the book. Let's get the research going. Cool. And there was actually buy-in from a few people saying, yeah, we want to check this out if that's really true. And so I, again, because of the trust we built, were able to go back and say, what the hell what were you saying? So on for last night's show, so I'm part of the network, and it's like having those parents that you're like, oh right?
Oh, my child.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Here we go.
My child do this, Lord.
Yeah. And then I also know the passion, and we're not the best at that. When we feel passionate about something to the point where we're steamrolling over people. Yeah. So what I liked about last night, the steamroller was just at a crawl space. It's just like just a very, if even the steamroller, it was very
rare that it happened.
Yes.
And it was brief.
Yes. Now, what makes those conversations challenging in this kind of venue, I don't think it was as intimate as it could be. You have so many people on the panel that want to turn, that want to talk, and da-da-da. I think some nice, smaller, intimate conversations with a goal in mind. I mean, how long do we continue the same point after point after point? It's almost like when people try, it's called the wear down method. Like if I say it for the 11th time, maybe you'll hear me.
You'll get it,
the 12th time, you'll get it. But I think the intent for the conversation is not about if I got it. I got it. I knew when I came over, or when you invite. We both know what the point is, what the argument is. Are we willing to look at how do we do something about it? Right. What part of it do we do about it? And how do we do it? So that conversation is usually missed because the feel-good conversation, the entertainment part of the conversation, and then even the part that felt like, wow, we started something. We actually put we started the path.
Mm-hmm.
So the honorable side of me says, that's the network, man. We're raw like that, crazy like that. And then you, and I want to make sure I got the 2 shows correct, because there's one show with Kevin. That wasn't last night. So
No,
I
it was
call
on
that
before
the Battle
last.
Royal. Yeah, that was the Battle Royal. The last night seemed way more at peace, way more. It was just a different vibe to it. And so what I liked about it was good. Would I have even called that 2.0? Because to me, that was like really the first conversation. The first one was just kind of this. The invite was there. So the takeaway from last night, professionally, then you have, there were so many points that are either missed. So like, and this is more personal, but professional, my professional perspective,
right.
of saying, hey, we have to be mindful of when we start blasting the people who are not responsible. Who's signing the checks up in here? So my check was short, and I'm coming to wipe out everyone in the place because my paycheck was short, and not a single soul who I'm in there wiping out signs the checks.
That part.
So it's like, whoa, wait a second. Because, I just want to be honest. And what you are doing at the schools and you ain't even seen me at the school. What are you talking about?
Okay, what the hell?
What are you talking about? But
I'm trying to pay these bills.
Yeah, I get it. It looks like you, it sounds like you, and you're advocating for it. Yeah, but it's damaging all of our kids. If it's going to damage, it's going to damage all of our kids. If it's going to support, it's going to support all of our kids. Our goal is to figure out, do we think it's damaging or supportive? Wherever we land, with a few differences, but wherever we land, now let's go do something about it.
Correct.
So I think that part gets missed. Time, you can do a 4 or 5 hour show, but time, and then depends on where you are in the chat, things are just kind of going and scrolling. So I like it if you have like a moderator or someone who's on. Yeah. They don't have to do all the talking. They could just be like a bowling alley. Just kind of you set up the bumper rails and just kind of help things stay centered.
Yeah.
That way you get to some of the points. People's points are heard. Blah 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 blah. More exchange. So I liked it, loved it, compared to and actually I like both nights, but last night felt more safe, more reasonable.
Yeah, more safe.
And felt like okay, people are ready to do something. I'll land with this. The other challenge is Mike Smuckatelli and Shaniqua shows up on Monday and have a really good conversation. I want to see consistency. Does it have to be those same 3? Possibly, but whoever comes next, but it's still the same consistency. We don't have to talk the same, but the consistency that we were before we go forward and then back, forward and back. So again, I'm biased because that's my network that I'm part of. At the same time, I love the attempt at a collaboration.
Yes. Okay. And that was a very educated and safe answer too. I appreciate that. Understandable because again, I do appreciate Black men having the conversation. Like even for me, I'm learning not to be triggered and to play into the chaos, to really just compose myself and control my narrative. I know you have a little bit of time left, so I'm going to ask you this last question that is from Harold. And Harold, it reads, what is the hang up about continuing on a legacy as it pertains to parents who seemingly struggle with coming to grips with having an LGBT plus child?
Well, but it's belief, hope, and desire. So the belief and the hope and desire, the common denominator is the good old dream. I'm going to have a child. They're going to grow up, go to school, get a job, get married, have a child. So then we're talking about the second and the third and the fourth of the generations. That's the dream, the hope, and the desire. There's potential to see it as disaster if anything interferes. Now I'm going to say that word strongly, like you interfered with my child's, catch the word my is in front of child, with you interfere with my child's future, my future. So I feel threatened. The child themselves may not even have been threatened. You say, well, they were threatened because now they don't have the opportunity. Quick question. Don't tell anyone to ask you this. when did you decide to make it your mission and your, like, when did you sign up for your mission? Because if your parents said, we have this garage business and I want to see you continue it, and you work hard to continue the business, and then you go to say it to your kid and your kid says, yeah, I wasn't trying to do that, I want to ride a skateboard.
Correct.
I mean, do you beat them into submission? Do you guilt them into submission? What?
Mm-hmm.
But some of that stimuli we don't know until later. We don't know some of that stimuli later. Like, we don't know when our parents get older and they're talking about, hey, I want you to keep this thing. You're like, what? You remember that time you cleaned my room and you threw out like random Monopoly pieces? What am I supposed to do with this? Well, that's been in the family for 300 years. But now I feel a certain sense of responsibility to carry this on. And what if I don't want it or know how to carry on that responsibility?
I'm taking that shit to the Antique Road Show and getting some money for it. 300 years. Oh, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Well, but then that's it. I'll sell it maybe after you, when you're gone or something, right? But so the hope, desire, I want to continue that for you. I'll take it. I'll put it in the house, and then when you're no longer whatever, I'm selling it, right? But I'll take it. So the same thing. Well, the fear is, now that you've changed the trajectory of where I wanted us to go, I hoped we would go, I thought we would go. And so now that's been messed with. And then when I pictured the junior, the second, the third, this legacy, and I believe you won't have it. Now, how much of that is misinformed? Who says we can't have that legacy? You might not have the kid the traditional way, but why can't we have that legacy? You know how many adopted kids out there who don't use the word adopted? They say, I am the family. I am a Johnson. I am a Williams. I am a Smuckatelli, period. They won't even use the word adopted. And sometimes the parents even forget. I mean, you don't forget that you adopted someone, but like, that's my kid. And pass on they pass, you know, and even say, oh, look, your nose looks like, oh, I'm adopted. That's right, I forgot. So there are ways to pass on the legacy, but the fear is everything's going to come to a halt, especially if you felt that you worked so hard. Right. That's where I challenge some parents to understand you will work hard, but you cannot guarantee anything. And it's the work hard for your next seed or the one after that, so they can have choice, they can have voice, they can have their family, and be proud to say, because what grandpa taught me, what dad taught me, I can now take that on my own, however I want to. Even if that includes, you can have a heterosexual kid who doesn't want any kids. There's no guarantee they can actually say, I don't want any kids, and I'm as heterosexual as you want me to be. I don't want to get married. I don't want this. I don't want that. So learn how to deal with disappointment.
Yeah, definitely. I'm about to pull this up real quick before you go. Hold on. To answer your or to speak to what you were saying, I saw it on. Come on now, damn it, work. Okay, there we go. This is from the New York Times. Breaking news. U.S. births declined for the 6th straight year in 2020 as the pandemic accelerated a trend that has been building for the last decade. And someone responded, well, it's almost like if you saddled a generation with massive debt, then hit them with the second economic crisis of their working lives, while simultaneously showing how little your society cares about children or caregiving, they will make choices accordingly. So there are some people out there who are saying, why would I want to bring children into this situation? Because children are not asked to be here. So it's very, very interesting with that. And I do appreciate your perspective. Do you have any lasting words before you go?
I do. And I don't want to come off as, I can't think of the word, disingenuous. I do sincerely say when I apologize, not for not a BMU network, our people that are misguided, misunderstood, and feel fear on both sides, sides. And I've played a role in that. I played a role in like, they better not. We got
BMU in the building. What's up? What's going on?
Oh, hey, what's up? There he is. This Big Papa.
What's going on?
So I played a role in that. I believed that no one was going to violate my values and no one was going to overtake. Okay. But that came from the idea of being a certain age, 6 and 7 years old in Bronx, New York, and having someone say to me, hey, you want to build a clubhouse? And then when I went home and told my mom what happened, it was when my mom said, I don't want to hear that shit. That didn't happen. And so there was not going to be another victim on my block. There was not going to be another pain person on my block. There wasn't going to be another kid on my block. But at the same time, that was well before I learned the person who wanted to play clubhouse when I was 6, they most likely had a 6-year-old story also. See, the ones that feel it naturally, the ones who say I am, they're not looking to go hurt people. There's no incentive in going to hurt. This is who I am. There's no need to hurt anyone. Those who are hurt usually hurt others. Those who were touched usually touch others. This comes from 100% of my clientele. 100% of my clientele, the offenders, all 100% of them, not always physically touched, but they all have dealt with betrayal. They all have dealt with abandonment, neglect, and a belief that they are not good enough, inadequacy. And they fight hard to be heard, to be seen, to be validated, to be cared for, to be loved, to be recognized. Now, how that translates, because it's so taboo, it's so wrong for me to do, then it starts in my mind as evil, because that's already been planted that this is an evil act. This is an evil connection. You won't believe the first time I was talking to a group of Somalians, like doing a group for them. They use drugs and alcohol, and I'm doing a group. What the fuck are you doing? The guy was laying this way, another guy sitting this way with his head in his lap. But it was like in group, like in therapy group, and as an entire group of Somalian men, they looked at me and said, and what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, hey man, y'all not gonna be laying down. What's this? And I said, this is some gay shit. And they said, the only one gay here is you. And I'm like, what the fuck? I could not believe it. They stood tall and strong and said, you wanted to be some gay shit. What the fuck are you talking about? We lay, play, hold, connect. We bond like this. How dare you try and demonize our way of bonding? Sorry, let me get that out of my mouth. I'm sorry. What did you
pick my
say?
face off the floor real quick.
Yeah. Let me get
Hold on.
that belongs
in the back.
Excuse me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Then I have this trick that I do. I showed them this trick. I said, I'll show you this trick. I did this for them, and they said, where's my proof? Here's what I showed them. This was years ago. So I had this book, and make sure you can get this to see. Where are you? Okay.
Is that say La Fun Magic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, A Fun. I thought it said
A
La
Fun
Fun.
Magic.
Okay.
So what I say is, what I told them was, you came into the world not knowing anything. Okay? You came into the world, we all came into the world not knowing anything. We had this blank slate. And I said, you have to be careful what you tell people and what you show them, because it can sprinkle. And back then I would say stuff like influence, and it can leave a mark. That's what I say. It will leave a mark. And so you have to be careful, because then you have these marks. Okay.
Oh wow! Come on, book.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Come on, book. Yeah, you have these marks. And I said, and then pending how you stain these marks.
What book is that?
Yeah.
Did Jesus give that book?
Yeah. Pending how you stain these marks, you can make something permanent, and it can either hurt or feel good. But before you know it, yes. And then what I said is, now, once you've realized you've gone down the wrong path, you have to be willing. I always talk about the willing. You have to be willing to shake things up. Change is going to not always feel good.
Yeah.
Change doesn't always feel good. You have to
Correct.
shake things up, and then you might just have to start over.
Come on.
Yeah, that's what I said. Be willing to start over. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget when those same Somalis, because they were all like, whoa, whoa, whoa. A couple of them like, oh, yeah, we're scared of you. But one of those same Somalians pulled me to the side and said, man, may I see the book? May I see the book? And technically, I had another book that I could put in your hands. So they went through like, I think you changed the book. And then he said, must be nice to be interchangeable when you find it convenient.
Oh.
What? Now I was still caught up in the magic. I'm like, oh, that's the same book. He said, well, whatever it is, it must be nice to switch up when you find it convenient. If this is the book or not is empty. And even though you made it colorful, there's really nothing here. It's a book. That's not how we operate. That's why you have to take the metaphor. You have to take the message. And he said, yeah, and you have to take our message. Does it always have to be your message? What? We're not all this book. I was like, come on, man. And again, but this is years ago before I was like, come on, you're talking all that.
Right.
And he's like, but you're talking it too.
Oh.
The program you came into is a Somalian program. And we brought you in as an African-American male to work with these guys really because of your skin color. We didn't want a white counselor. We wanted someone with color, but technically you were not our first choice either because you're not Somalian.
Right.
But you come in with these ideas and they're great. We love you. We love you. They're great. You make us laugh and giggle and feel warm inside. But you're not one of us. So please be careful. And then I did another thing where I took money, a couple of dollars. I said, do you know your value? Because if not, and I ripped up the couple of dollars, and they was like, oh. And that same brother said, but he always pulled me to the side. He said, how many dollars? I said, just $2. He said, do you know that $2 could have fed a whole village where I'm from? I said, $2? The $2 could have fed a whole village where I'm from. Must be nice to have the ability to rip that up. Dude, you take things.
The privilege.
Yeah, right. But notice I'm telling them, take things, you should see you're not even open. You're not even open. You're still, I'm trying to help you, and you're still telling me what you. And man, that just stuck with me. And then when I start learning the business and like the psychology and really learning, like, that's what you mean. I had to speak I, but I was teaching to the you, bringing my I to your you. I wasn't using person-centered. I didn't recognize who they were. I recognized who I wanted them to be. I didn't recognize who they were, who I wanted them to be. So they might make some changes in what they heard, and some of it might change, but they changed to what I wanted them to change to, if they changed. So they just really listened and brought into it, but did they really change? Because if it's not their true, authentic self, it can't be true, authentic change. Right. So learning that, I had to learn to adjust my plane. Like, where am I really trying to land this? And if I'm really trying to be holistic, I got to be able to deal with all the people, because at the end of the day, the pain is for everyone. The love is for everyone. Now, doesn't mean I have to touch you or influence you by the way I want, and then I say the same thing. Please don't in the way that I want. Right? If it's impacting my kid at school, first of all, how did it get in the school? My son tells me, if my daughter tells me, Dad, we had the so-and-so and so-and-so, and I'm thinking, first of all, it's not even real. How did you even get that in the school? I want to talk to the people who let it in the school. Right. And if the people in the school said, well, this is what we want to do, this is what okay, can you include me, considering that I'm bringing the kids up here? You want to include me? I want to have some say-so in it too. Because if I take that to the kids, well, now they're stuck with, and believe it or not, when they feel that pressure, well, who do you think they go with? So if it's only one or me or two parents or whatever versus a whole network of kids and a whole network of supporting staff, eventually they're going to go with their message. So to say, hey, this is our home, what we represent. This is what you're going to school and what you should be doing. Just so you know, on Friday, they're going to have the so-and-so speaker. We have some different views, but that's what the school is about. And I have a choice. If I don't want that kid to go to that school, then you can take them to a different school. Some people say home parent. I'm nervous for our people to home parent, not saying we can't. But wouldn't that be beautiful that you got your black ass and your black kids out of the school and just taught them at home? We got new MacBooks and we got this stuff and we got this socialization opportunity. When you took yours home, man, that's good stuff. Get them all the education you can. So we took them home, right? The wear down method. Well, if you don't like it, just homeschool. You goddamn right, I'm a homeschool. They take them. More space for what and who? So I question the whole, yes, build a school, do whatever, all for it. But at the same time, who let them in the school? And then who do they let in the school? There's a big difference between an entertainer, an educator, and someone saying, I'm into conversion therapy.
Right.
Because if you're not coming saying I'm about conversion
or
I'm
recruiting,
you say, well, anyway, but they're coming in there. Hell, do you know if I do this in the school, how many kids are then going to say to themselves, when I grow up, I want to be a musician?
Or, oh my God, I want to buy that book. That book is cool. Oh my God, look what he did. I'm gonna show him all my friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then, am I a recruiter? Am I an influencer? And then on the positive side, cool. Whoever does get into magic is awesome. I think a lot of kids have that fantasy.
Yeah.
So, but then they have to go to the parent to be like, I want to do magic. And either the parent enforces it or entertains it or celebrates it or pushes it at that age, or the parent does. And I hear what you want. But at this stage, this is what we do. But if you see it enough, and then I'll close with this, and I thank you for respecting the time.
No problem.
The Chicago schools they took out all the bathrooms, right? And they said, okay, we're just going to make it neutral. I started thinking, damn, have they ever been in the boys' bathroom? What girl's going to want to sit on? What boy's going to want to sit on some nasty toilet? But the fact that they just went in,
none of that shit.
Yeah, and swept it all out. Then I'm like, how did you swipe out an entire community worth of these things and just make it what you want to? And to me, at that moment, I start thinking, not only the kids are in danger, but the policy, the fact that you can create a policy or just do whatever you want in the district or whatever. I say a lot more is going on within just these kids. What is the real agenda?
Yeah.
See, so the show the other night was about what is the gay agenda? Cool. What is it? What is the gay agenda? What is the heterosexual agenda? What is the trans agenda? What is anyone's agenda behind their sexuality and or their gender? But then I wonder, what's the agenda for the agenda? Like, why does it have an agenda? The original agenda was reproduction, reproducing. So we already know that's male, female, boom, right? So then when it start to grow or branch or change, when it start to grow or whatever the reason was for the change, however much it was accepted or not accepted. The point is, it got to the point where it's enough there in every country, there's no just gay America, in every country. So but now that we're there, so went from a 2-lane highway now to this highway, we're all on the same highway and we're still producing kids. So whatever system we have to produce the kids, yes, we keep that safe. But we are also on the same highway with those who don't produce kids naturally. We're also on the same highway with people who organically, we're people who don't want kids. So we're all on this information freeway. But now we have some certain vehicles that are coming in. They just happen to be plowing the black people. They happen to be running into the black people. And it's like wherever you stood on it, if it's taking you out, we have to figure out the minimum. Can I say, hey, brother, sister, whomever? It doesn't have to be black and white, but brother, sister, move. If I look at you and be like, oh shit, you look funny or you look different, and watch you get killed. Yeah, what we're doing, we're purifying Hey, man, we can work them differences out later. Because if you're truly that person, you've been that way for a long time. I'm just not recognizing you. I'm just not recognizing you. Was it some magic trick you just popped up? So we have to recognize who we're with. Acknowledge who we're with. Honor who we're with. So I was talking about BMU, you're here. I was just mentioning it earlier if you watched the replay. I was saying I'm biased about the network, but all of us didn't bring a different perspective. Can you imagine if we were all the same?
Right.
We all bring a different perspective. Yes. So I don't know if you had any last closing questions. I definitely appreciate the opportunity. I did want to make sure that I answered. There was a question you had asked me about the Oppius complex, I think.
Oh yeah, that was the one earlier. So I can highlight it again. It's probably here. Hold on. But go ahead. Where's it at? This one here. Yes, the Oppius and Electra complexes.
Okay, so and then the second part was opposite gender against the same.
Yeah, same sex. Yes.
All right. So I was thinking about my answer, and so we're talking Greek. Oppius, the Greek. Is that who you're? I don't know, boys.
I don't know. Are you still here, Boy Crazy? If so, could you
talking about the Greeks?
Verify? Yeah, because I mean, first of all, I appreciate you coming because this is what I want to do. I would ask that when you do go back into the Black Men Unfiltered spaces, to let them also know that, hey, their BubzDaGawd is willing to have the conversation. Like, even
Absolutely.
if it's a passionate one, I'm cool with all that. Again, I want to get to the gray area conversation because all of the distractions that a lot of us are choosing to feed in are there for a reason. And I want us to help to dissipate those distractions, because if not, and I shared it in the beginning, and I asked this question, and I guess this will be my last question to you. I take it you're also a man of faith, correct?
Yeah, you can say that.
Man of faith. Okay, then. I just want to be safe. Just be safe. I mentioned on the platform about the bill that is happening in Uganda called it's labeled as the Kill the Gays bill, where it was a bill that was enacted that's been, I think it was produced in 2010, 11, around that time, and it was being propagated by those over here, in that area, saying that homosexuality is a perversion from the West. And because of that, now there is a bill that's enacted that if anybody is a practicing homosexual or someone who even promotes homosexuality, that they will face imprisonment or extreme lengths, death. As a person of faith, how do you feel about that bill? Do you feel like that is a morally ethical bill? Do you feel like Jesus would have signed off on that bill? Like, yes, get rid of them. Like, what do you feel about that bill? And do you feel like something like that could possibly happen here? That was a loaded question, I know, but
no, that's cool. So to be fair, that's not my wheelhouse, and I'm not that strong in my faith to be able to say, "Oh, yes, this and that." So I'm just really leaning into some speaking points.
Yes.
So my speaking points about it is, from my understanding, if you believe in the Bible or any of the books, there was a group of people who actually participated in what they would say homosexual activity. And then you say, well, that village was burned down, or that village was burned up, and if the world keeps going the way it's going to go, it's going to burn. Okay, so if that's the case, they were saying homosexuality is wrong. Now, at the same time, all this stuff, if you're talking, and again, these are speaking points about AB and BC and all that. So at some point, all this stuff was on the east. So if we're talking about the beginning of man, it was in the east. So then it was in Africa, and there was in these different places over there. Saudi,
indigenous,
thank you. So then when you say, well, it came from the West, but I argue how much of it really went to the West, how much of it went to the West, and then the West progressed at some point and then brought it over back to the East. I wonder, again, I'm just wondering, because the act itself if you say people go to jail and at some point they go in one way and come out another, minus the institutions with the bars, how many things that were similar to a jail where all these people are together and that they didn't engage in any type of this activity. And then when I look at, and again, I'm just pulling points out there. When I think about how many people at the church, how many of the men, clergymen that touch the boys, and they clearly are of the faith. So where did they get that from? Say, well, that's because they never been married or they never had vagina. Or they never had. I'm not questioning if they ever had. I'm saying if there's potential that they did it. If there's potential that these, now they all will be punished for it. I get it. But the question isn't about punishment. The question is about what do you do with this group of people who that is their practice? What do you do with this group of people who say, no, we're not trying to cause harm, but this is what I love, and this is what I want. And then when one group tells another group, you can't, or we're going to tell you.
Oh Lord, not being in the background, add to the story.
If I just go black with some lightning while I'm talking about God stuff, So one group to tell another group what you can and can't do. But the believer in me that says, this book gives me a set of scriptures to follow. And if I follow this, this is what I'm promised. I also am given my own free will to make my decision. I'm not saying you have to follow this book, but if you do what's written, if you do what the stories, if you do what I spoke, then you will get this reward or this outcome. If you choose to go this route, here's the potential consequence. So in closing of that question, I start to think about what is the goal of the law? Is it to ensure the future with, heterosexual sex and people can have babies, reduce the number of homes that don't have a mother and a father, blah, blah, blah. Wait, it's not the same community. Is that the same community? Wait, is that the same community that has community fathers and community mothers? Where you can have one husband and 10 wives and they produce? But that's so if you're gay, if that's the mission to make sure we still have enough hetero men and hetero women and have it. So if that's the mission, well, you've always had a history of one man and 10 women. So I wonder what the goal is. I wonder if it's the West coming over telling you what you can do and you're saying no. Or I also wonder if it's something that we've never practiced, but now that we've kept it on the low radar, how come it's just now 2023? And again, I don't know, it might be other times, but how come just now 2023 that you're pushing this law? Where did that come from? So was it just, we just picked up the papers and saw that so-and-so's coming here tomorrow to ask us to do it? No, save yourself. Listen, I hear what you guys have been working up over the last few years. Save yourself. We're going to put into law now. So I wonder how much of that was kind of brewing. People don't just wake up one day and create a new law. How much of that was brewing where it's already been going on? So Kenya, in some parts of Kenya, you go across the street and there's 5-star hotels. And then you go on one side of the street, it's 5-star hotels. You go right across the street and there's poor huts and sand and dirt. Almost like our White House. There's homeless population on one side, but that's how it is in Kenya. And you cannot walk around openly kissing and public display of affection, and you will get wiped out if you are or appear to be of same-sex gender. But it wasn't a law. It was the way of the land, the way that we believe in, and people did walk down the street discreetly. Some did get harassed and beat up, and some did not. So the push for the law tells me that that's their way of saying, you don't need to come over, we'll handle our own business. In fact, we have some laws about it. And then I think once we get to the point where we figure we can't bully other countries and we can't do, then we'll figure out, well, that's how you guys do it. And at some point over here, when we're done using each other, we'll put some laws in place. So women said we didn't feel heard. They worked their way up, and now they're all in Hollywood creating all women production companies. And there are some men saying, wait a second, you just gonna push me out. Oh, there's the women's club? Well, guess what? I'm a woman, so let me in. Okay? And then you have some women saying, oh yeah, you're an oppressed group, come with us. But wait a second, we don't know if we really like you because you're still not one of us. I'll tell you what, let's sprinkle some stuff out there. You guys all beat each other up and we'll see who's left. Oh, you're the survivors.
Mm.
So again, that's just kind of my own little belief that I wonder what some of these laws are about. And then it's funny because some of the ones that create the laws,
Mm-hmm.
some of the ones who create the laws,
Mm-hmm.
the reason they know so good and well about it is because they are about it.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping those people stay safe over there. That they're just not. Because remember in the Philippines, during Norte, the president, ex-president, former president, passed the law that civilians can be deputized into if you ever see anyone selling drugs. And those civilians killed drug dealers and drug addicts. Deleted them. No, on site, deleted them, and it was all legal. All legal. So my fear is, man, if they get to wipe out just anybody and anyone, what does that do? What does that do? How many families does that impact? And there's a difference between saying, hey, we don't do that and it's not allowed and keep it out. There's a difference between that and actually deleting someone.
Yeah.
Imprisoning them. Because what does that do for so just the bigger picture. I get it. You don't want it. You're not gonna condone it. But the response to it, what's that going to get? So that's my question.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. It's been an honor. And if you have any questions, I will be taking that message over to BMU Network to say, hey, let's have the conversation. I'll invite, Mandrell.
Yes.
He did some of these conversations before. He made an attempt to have some of these conversations before. A few of them went well, and a few of them didn't go so well on both sides.
Yeah.
But so I would question, what would be the goal? If you were to think about it, you don't have to answer now, but what would be the goal? Like, what's the goal? What are we addressing together? What are our needs? What are our needs to even be heard? What do I need first to even feel safe to sit in the same room or on the same space, in the same space with you? What do we need? How do we get what we need? How do we get it? And then once we get that, just to feel safe, now what is it that we want to work on? And if at the end of the day, it's just you stay on your side and I stay on my side, cool, we can do that too. But there's a mutual respect.
Right.
Even if at the end of the day, we're just saying, don't come for me and I won't come for you. Because if you come for me, I'm going to defend myself on both sides. So if we can at least say, hey, we're not trying to hurt each other. I just want to be heard. Cool. And we're not trying to hurt anyone. We just want to be heard. Or let's look at some things going on in our communities that if we support each other and help each other, we can help bring some of that chaos down. Because we're getting deleted if we like it or not.
Yeah.
Our children are dealing with more mental illness if we like it or not.
Yeah.
Our structures out there that say that for some people, really these smoke and mirrors out there, if we like it or not. And at the end of the day, if we don't look out for each other, what are we going to have left? What are we going to have left?
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm about. Because again, I just feel like there are so many different perspectives. They even tried it in the 60s and 70s. I want us to get to the point of where Black delegations can come together, different perspectives, beliefs, but what is the common root? What is the common theme to build upon? And maybe we can get ourselves out of this situation. But thank you so much, Dr. Nakumbe, for coming. I really appreciate it. You are always welcome on this platform. And I'm going to do what I can to continue the conversation because I'm about change. And you already had me on the platform, so you can't get rid of me now. I'm here. It is what it is.
Right,
so right. Talk, let's talk.
Right. Thank you, those in the chat, for the space. Thank you. Hope I answered your questions. I do look forward to chiming in from time to time and just being here and supporting the audience. So thank you. Take care, everyone. Peace.
All right. You have a good one. Thank you.
You too. All right. BubzDaGawd. Peace.
What's going on, peace? I said, what's going on, peace? I'm ready to go. Okay.
All right. Yep. See you.
All right, y'all. That was Dr. Nakumbe. I was not expecting that. That was dope. That was dope. And this is what I want. I want more of these conversations. And I have hope. But I want to have conversations with individuals who they can still hold on to what they hold on and their beliefs because that's a part of their identity. It would be crazy for me to sit up here and say, accept my identity, but to deny yours, right? But how do we find that common place where we can respect each other genuinely and possibly build community, look out for each other? Yeah, I mean, and I also want heterosexual people to also understand too that the expressions of queer people are going to be different. I'm a same-gender loving man, but I subscribe to the social construct of what a man is supposed to be as far as the aesthetic is concerned, the way that I show up in the world. But that's not the only expression of queerness. You know what I mean? And if a queer person is literally not harming you or your child and they're simply just existing in this reality, allow them that. Allow them that. Because I ain't gonna lie, I was about to drop all type of receipts. I'm like, baby, we are going to have difficult conversations consistently. That's why I'm going to continue to tag. I'm going to continue to call out certain viewpoints and perspectives and all come together. Because to Dr. Nakumbe's point, we all universally know what pain feels like, fear feels like, but joy and love as well. So I'd rather work on the joy and love aspect. I believe it can happen. I hope that it happens in my lifetime. If not, I'm going to do all that I can to ensure that humanity, and especially in the realm of Blackness, can grow in a healthy and monolithic way that honors and supports everybody. That's just my dream. Okay, so anyway, thank y'all so much for coming through. Shout out to Queen. Put my shit over here, actually. Hold on. Let me do this. I should have had it like this before. This would be a lot easier. Shout out to Queen Spicy. Shout out to Harold. Okay, shout out to you. Shout out to Black Men Unfiltered coming through real quick. Appreciate it. Shout out to Boy Crazy. Shout out to y'all. I'm over here hot. I'm about to put that fan on 3. I love y'all. I was over here sweating and shit. Shout out to Extra Smoke Dragon. I will be getting my smokes tomorrow. Again, shout out to Dr. Nakumbe coming into the building, all right, and sharing his perspective from a clinical and a personal perspective. Shout out to Makidra, okay? Shout out to Queen Amber, and again, my condolences to you and your church family. Shout out to everybody who was in the bushes. Shout out to the replay gang, okay? If you like what you've heard and what you've seen, okay? Because I am a fine ass nigga. Make sure y'all hit that like button, okay? And if you like the vibe, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you can stay up to date and alerted to all of my uploads. I go live at random times, y'all. It is what it is. So if you like the vibe, make sure you do that. And if you feel compelled and feel blessed to donate, okay, to the Leprechaun Church Building Fund, where we actually put dough knobs on the dough over here in this ministry, you can hit my Cash App, which is $BubzDaGawd, as you can see on the screen down below. Thank y'all for coming through for the conversation. I appreciate it. I want to have more conversations. This, all I can say is my life is going to be very eventful. It's going to be an up and down roller coaster, and I'm learning to enjoy it. I am learning to enjoy the good, the bad, and the ugly, because in the midst of all of that, God, Source, Universe is in the mix. Okay, so yes. I like this setup. I think I might be doing this a lot more. Yeah. Let me just go through the comments one more time. Harold said, we're seeing the domino effect of the bill, similar to that in Uganda bill and the Bible Belt already. While extreme, I believe that when push comes to shove, politicians across the South will lead the charge on seeing that those type of bills comes into fruition. There is a full-on witch hunt for LGBT plus individuals in the U.S., especially our current political climate, particularly in Florida. And I do agree, honestly, like I said, for me, we're all oppressed on all fronts, and backs and sides. We're in a fucked up position. Blackness, queerness, women, the system we live in. To me, America is a corporation. It's the American dream. Let me sell you a dream, and I will give you all that you want for the dream, as long as you don't wake up. Because when you wake up, our game is over with. So Black liberation is rising. Now we have this pushback against Blackness. Queer liberation is rising. So now here comes the protect the children narrative that we heard in the 60s and 70s. Women being able to have control and autonomy of their body that they came into this world with and is going to leave this world with without a man around them. Whenever they're liberating themselves and creating their own spaces, and these spaces are gaining traction. These spaces are being highlighted or on their way to ascension to be equal. There are some powers that be that don't want that to happen because now their game is over with. Okay, well, the universe, God, source, Mother Nature has always found a way of leveling the playing field for all of her earthly children and participants. So, yes, this was a very good live. And I would like to do a live, and I said it before when Black Man reached out to me to be on the live on Tuesday, where I said I would love to sit down and have a conversation and ask questions, and even have questions be asked to me by Dr. Nakumbe, which I'm grateful for this initial, like, actual conversation to actually happen. Mr. Bennett, Mandrell, Tyru, because I know that's gonna be a nigga I'm gonna be swinging with. Okay, us two on the panel and the barbershop talk. Oh, okay. Well, I guess everybody about to get a little Boosie fade. I'm gonna get one. All the bald head niggas gonna get one too, baby. It's gonna be a shadow or something. Okay, and for us to just simply sit on the panel, even if it's for like 30-45 minutes, where they can actually have a conversation that's productive as well, hearing the queer aspect of it. Because at the end of the day, God's source universe allowed me to be a part of this experience too. And we're going to have to find a way to honor all of our experiences. And in the East, where they are more spiritual and more indigenous and more connected to power, to source, to nature, all these things, as opposed to us over here that's attached to these things, they honored different expressions of life. Women were also put in leadership positions as well because they bring something that is unique to the experience. The same thing with queer people and all forms of royalty, especially for men that had multiple wives and had a harem of wives. Who do you think was in charge of caring for these individuals? The queer people. Okay, so again, history has also shown that all aspects of humanity have a purpose. And it's literally about trying to figure out what that purpose is. Y'all, I'm about to get ready to go give me something to snack on. I take this damn shirt off and cut this fan on 3. All right, my edible is wearing off, but that's okay because I'm going to go to sleep soon. And again, I will be continuing these conversations, even if I have to be one of the only ones doing it, that's fine. But I know that the individuals that God, source, universe, or destiny has in place for me to manifest that are slowly but surely coming into fruition. Okay, so y'all have the rest of an amazing night, and I will talk to y'all later on. Peace.
Love never dies, just choose to be born again.
Hell no, in no way. Ain't never been a representative for me, so speak for you, my brother.
Honey, I represent all the men here. Anyway.